I'll take you there with my power.
Well, look at that, son. We woke up in the middle of the night to a telepathic message, and our uncle, who sleeps at the table apparently because we occupy the only bed, has gone off to answer it. So maybe we should chase after him, since we're a plucky youth, fit to go out on a grand adventure. Boys, this is Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. It is unquestionably my favorite video game of all time. And it's taken me a long time to do a full playthrough of it for the channel, but I just decided this is Christmas Day. This isn't technically a Christmas special, even though I was supposed to get this game for Christmas, but the year that my mom had bought it for me to give me for Christmas, I talked about it so much because I had rented it. And all I did was talk about this game, and so she just gave it to me in like September. So I would stop talking about it. She was like, if we have to, we'll just wrap the box and you can open it Christmas morning. Son, you're fine with me. Let's get us a fun lamp. But I've tried to record it for the channel before, but I like got too into my own head because I just love this game so much, and I was like, I could never do it justice just sitting and talking about it. But I just decided to. I was recording my Animal Crossing Christmas special, and I was like, I need to play a more proper game for these kids. So if you're watching this and it's not Christmas, I won't go into too much Christmas stuff during it. It's not the first of my holiday specials to not be a game I got for Christmas, because I believe in 2018 my Christmas special was Resident Evil Director's Cut, and I didn't get that game for Christmas. I bought that game with my own money when it was a greatest hits. So the first version of the original Resident Evil I ever got was the DualShock version with the music everyone hates. So there you go. The perfect beginning to my Link to the Past playthrough. No, we're gonna have a good time. I'm just gonna play through the game like I normally would and just have a good time, and we'll just chat it up. I'm hoping to get this up before Christmas Day is over. It's 11:53 Eastern Standard Time as I'm knocking that blue soldier off that ledge. Where were you when I was knocking that blue soldier off that ledge, son? It says a lot about you. Come at me, bro. Pots for days, pots and pans. So yeah, we've got to come down here and rescue Zelda. Apparently the wizard Agahnim. It's a word I could never say. There's a lot of names in this game I couldn't ever pronounce as a kid. Wait till we meet the village elder. I still don't know if I say his name correctly. But Agahnim, he like came in and impressed everybody with his magic, and the king of Hyrule's like, I'm gonna listen to everything you say. You seem like a good fella, cut from the right cloth. Your jib is cut just so right. Guess we'll take this boomerang. But he like took over the king, or displaced him, I think the opening says. We didn't watch the opening because I figured you didn't have any reason to sit through the Link to the Past opening. If you want to, I'm sure you could find it. It's nice, and it really does set the tone for the game. It's important to point out that I played this game for the first time when I was like 8 years old in 1992. And it was like the most mind-blowing, epic like video game adventure I'd ever been on. It was the first magical video game adventure, and that was before Tenfey was even realized, son. For Tenfey was just a twinkle in my eye back then, son. So it seemed like the grandest game of all time. You kids watching it now, it might seem a bit primitive, son. You might be like little Elijah Wood and his friend in the 50s or 80s cafe in Back to the Future 2, calling wild gunmen a baby's toy. but it was grandson. It was like, your grandson? Did you time travel to get this game, Uncle Tenfey? Getting a Christmas present in September is kind of like time travel. The first day I owned my own copy of this game, I played it for so long that it was the first time I got eye strain and like got a stress headache. And I still kept playing, boys. I'm telling you. I don't know if I've played through any video game in my life more times than this one. Because it's a game that you get to the point where you can just sit down and play. I used to go over to my friend Matthew's house. Tenfey historians know him as the older brother of Tenfey, perennial fan favorite Garrett. But I would go over and hang out with him while he was playing World of Warcraft. And he had his Super Nintendo and his PlayStation hooked up to his CRT TV in his room still. And so while we were just sitting there shooting the shit, I would play through this and Resident Evil 2. And it was the PlayStation version of Resident Evil 2, so you couldn't even skip the cutscenes, boys. They're definitely in my top 10 games of all time. Well, this is my number 1. Number 2 is such a close tie between Final Fantasy VI and Chrono Trigger that it's like a Sophie's choice. That's Tenfey's choice, son, is me trying to choose between Final Fantasy III and Chrono Trigger. If you were to ask me right now, it changes with how my humors are balanced, but if you were to ask me right now, I would say Final Fantasy VI, but I've been in a very Final Fantasy mood lately, son. I need to get the next episode 4 of my Final Fantasy IV TMVA up for y'all, but I've been working on Christmas non-stop, son. You're like, Christmas ruined Final Fantasy IV. Damn you, Chris Kringle. You're aiding Golbez, son. Anything delaying Cecil Paladin from kicking Golbez's nuts, son. You're serving Zeramus. Spoilers. Snakes. Snakes take 2 hits from the fighter sword. Oh, we've got the fighter sword, and I guess this is the fighter shield. We didn't have to light that second sconce. I just like to do it. Don't sconce shame me. Snakes are going to be coming out of Zelda, but don't worry. I'm a plucky little feller full of gumption, boys. Haha, you tried to ambush me. The old snake ambush. You think it's the first time an elf boy hero has encountered it. You're quite mistaken. All right, the sewer is full of rats, and unfortunately rats in this game aren't friendly, son. But they have a tendency to drop big rupees. So I don't know. I blame Shigeru Miyamoto for like instilling a hatred of rats into people playing video games, son. People play through Final Fantasy IX and don't take in the tragedy of the events of that game like I do, son. Final Fantasy IX is a game I got for Christmas, but whew, I don't know, man. There's a lot to take in with Final Fantasy IX. You're like, well, it doesn't matter. At the rate you're going, Uncle Tenfey, you'll get to Final Fantasy IX if they can somehow preserve your brain in a jar like RoboCop 2. Instead of nuke, they'll have a thing of rat tail. That's how they'll control me. Have you all seen RoboCop 2? I saw it once as a kid. I rented it on VHS. I remember finding the concept of the guy having like his brain cut out and putting that robot to be quite disturbing. We don't need to be slaughtering all these rats on Christmas. The Rat King, that's a Christmas thing, right? You know, I've never actually seen the Nutcracker. The music from it is so ubiquitous that you just kind of know it. I like Tiny Toons. They did a cover of the Nutcracker Suite, but it was about Foul Mouth the Chicken playing an arcade game. No, it was Plucky. Foul Mouth was singing the song, but the song was about Plucky playing an arcade game and begging his mom for quarters, son. Oh, and then we got Zelda to this the Sanctuary, because you're not allowed to say church or cathedral in 90s Nintendo games. You don't care about the plot, The Link to the Past. Plot, The Link to the Past is the elf boy hero woke up to adventure, literally. Zelda's ghost was whispering in his ear, was like, hey, I'm locked up, why don't you come save me? Boys, you gotta love that bombastic music, son. This is the version. I don't want your green ruby to buy sour grapes with. This is the version of the Final Fantasy, the Zelda Overworld theme, son. You'll never convince me otherwise. It's not even in Ocarina of Time. They had to wait till Majora's Mask. I forgot you take a spin and a slice from our fighter sword. He's got a fighter sword. I remember as a kid, the first time I watched Aladdin, my favorite of the classic Disney movies, You guys drop arrows sometimes, so I don't mind slaughtering y'all. Yeah, I don't have a bow yet, but I got it preemptively to bring up a Christmas memory. It's like how I used to always, if I was getting a new console for Christmas, I would always, when I went to my dad's family on Christmas Eve, inevitably somebody would give me a game because my mom would have told them, oh, Benjamin's getting a Nintendo 64 tomorrow, son. I saw him eat a couple of green beans. That's good enough to get a Nintendo 64. See my Mario 120 star run Christmas special for more on that. And maybe even visual proof of 12-year-old me obtaining a Nintendo 64, although no vegetables are pictured. But anyway, the year I got my 64, my mom got that for me with Mario 64, but that Christmas Eve at my dad's mom's house, I was given Wave Race 64. I was like, how odd to give me a video game for a console I don't own. Mission Hill hasn't been made yet, so I can't proclaim that you got me the expansion pack without the game, Andy, but I felt it in my heart. Well, anyway, back when we were walking across the bridge, I was talking about the first time I saw Aladdin. The part in One Step Ahead, my God, I got the most arrows, where Apu pulls the sword out of the sword eater's mouth, and he's like swinging it around making karate noises, and the guard's like, he's got a sword. Then the other guard points out that they all have swords. Son, wait till this shit on that guy's parade, son. Balls are coming at us. Paul's balls, I believe. Popular Let's Play style video makers call them. In the Lost Age. I guess we could come up here and get this free money that was left for me. We got a couple of things we need to buy. We're going to need 100 rupees for a bottle. We're going to need 500 rupees for some flippers. We're going to need 110 rupees to bribe a monkey into helping us save the world. So there's a lot to take in. This little elf boy healer's got his work cut out for him. What's the made-up name for this Link, by the way? You got the Hero Time and Hero Wild, and the hero of I turned into a wolf that time. Is that the hero of the Twilight, I imagine they call him? What do you call this one? The hero of dimensions? The hero of the dark world? Uh-huh. Where's your precious Zelda Historia now? Where's Shigeru Miyamoto's fan fiction that people love to say is canon? I'm gonna have 30 arrows before I get the bow. I don't know if I've ever managed that. What chest? Here's a fun thing. If you come straight here, you can talk to Sahasrahal. This is the guy I was talking about earlier, the village elder. Sasha Shalala or something is what I called him as a kid, because I knew I couldn't say his name. Son, come at me, Eyeball Joe. Get smoked. Skeletons ain't shit. Now, we can't open a big box unless we've got a big key, unfortunately. Big chests have big expectations, son. You can't show up with a small key. That big chest will be like, I don't want to give you treasure today. I got a headache. I got to work in the morning. Can't you summon a flying duck to take you home? Here's some rupees. Boys, a big treasure chest gets really impersonal. Now, those fire fairies or whatever, those anti-fairies, that's what they're called, that were flying towards us in the hallway, maintained their position. So we have to keep going. There's going to be one more Bago Snakes monster who always drops a rupee just to entice you to turn back around. And look at that, we've backtracked and walking over the ballroom. Son, Zelda 1 would never allow such a thing. They say your first Zelda game is always your favorite. Now, I rented Zelda 1 and 2 as a kid, but I didn't actually own them. And I didn't have the manual when I rented them, so I didn't really know what I was doing and didn't get very far in them. So I didn't have like super nostalgia for those games. But Link to the Past, boys. Link to the Past. You can't... Their pattern seems random, like they always bounce at like a 45-degree angle, but I swear Shigeru Miyamoto's ghost can pilot them towards you. See, I was just about to walk there, and how convenient that the anti-fairy was going that way. Boys, once I get a hold of my magic powder, you won't be so smug. With my spear and magic helmet, son. Elmer Fudd in that What's Opera Doc Looney Tunes was the first dragoon when you think about it. The bow. Is it a cheddar bow? Son, see my Animal Crossing Christmas special for more on cheddar bow biscuits and bojangles. All right, we're going into the dark room. Huzzah! Now, we can only kill these guys by either throwing a pot at them or shooting them in the eye. When their eyes close, they're invincible, and you have to get near them for their eye to open. Walking statue, his eyes open. Link, when the snake bag monster cell. There's a room over to the right full of rupees, but rupees really aren't that big a deal. Even though I went on and on earlier about our future expenses. Look at that, see? Scared me about those ghost boys. I'm telling you, he's in VR like Johnny Mnemonic, guiding every anti-fairy. Oh, I hate it when two of them come at you because it's hard to aim. Now, this bottom one opens the door, but I hate these guys enough that I'll kill all of them for fun. Because I'm the elf boy hero and I kill statues for fun. The perplexing ballroom. Oh, how perplexing. Now we come across the red eye statue. He takes 2 hits. Gee, Eastern Palace, how come your red armor statue takes 2 arrows, son? I love how they mark the boss doors with these cool skulls. They don't always necessarily line up with what the boss looks like, but sometimes they do. All right, you got to stagger your shots if you want to one-cycle these guys. Ugh, I didn't do a very good job. See, I just wanted to show y'all what it looks like to fuck up and ruin your Christmas Day release, but not particularly necessarily required to be a Christmas special video, son. It's a long category. Somehow we won! Armos Knights, Armos Knights. Well, there you go, boys. We found this cool green pendant that somebody might want. Now, from our point of view, Link woke up. Zelda's ghost telepathically told him to jump down a hole in the rain to get into the castle and fight through the guards to rescue her. We'd left her at a church, and then immediately we just ran over here to this ancient ruins and found a green pendant that nobody's even mentioned yet. Here's where Sahara... So normally you're supposed to go all the way to the Kakariko village at the west side of town. And then they tell you Sahara's hiding out over here, and then you come to him, and he's like, you gotta go in the Eastern Palace and smoke those Armos Knights and get the green pendant. Here's some cool boots that make you run fast. He also hints about a item hidden past Lake Hylia that we might go get. Money bombs. I like to think Sahara, I'm probably not saying his name right, but that's just how I'm gonna say it. Didn't even know that cool stuff was back there. He's like, man, I had dibs. I had dibs. Ganon has already won. Uh-oh. You don't mind using the bow and arrow on these guys because it kills them in one hit? Ah. Sometimes they drop arrows. Sometimes they drop arrows, but not today. Elf boy, not today. One of them. Oh, the Pegasus boost lets us run. Oh, and smack in the walls. I'm going out of my way to farm more arrows. I don't normally walk over here, son. It's like the Overworld map in Final Fantasy 1. We're visiting all these strange locales. Sometimes trees have secrets, and sometimes that secret is bees, so you gotta be careful. Okay, we need to get to the desert, and to get to the desert, we need a book. We gotta go to the library and learn something. I hope the library bunch it in there. Now, what I like about these guys is if you shoot them at the same time, son, you'll deflect each other's arrows. It's a fun thing. All right, we had enough fun. We shared enough laughs. Run into town. Oh, you can ignore a lot of the soldiers. I love that noise they make. Oh, yeah, if you run along that path, you always hit both those bushes, and when you hit the two of them at the same time, you bounce off. One of those little secrets I learned as a kid. I thought for sure you would drop. Oh, ow. I decided I wanted to fight you, and it's not because I fucked up and ran into the wall. I assure you. I assure you. All right, let's do something I never do when I'm playing this game casually, son. Let's go in here and play it games of chance. Like I never have any reason to do this. 20 rupees. Right chest. Hey, we made 30 rupees. Good for us. He's like, no, come back. You're supposed to be addicted. You're supposed to lose money. All right, we might as well go over here and get this piece of heart. So these brothers are quarreling, and so they sealed the entranceway between their rooms, which means the brother in the other room, he just has to live in this house because when you walk outside, I guess he has to jump over the ledge because they built this fence partition. 15 seconds to reach the goal. Let's do it, boys. Oh, This is the path I always take, because it lets you stop and read this sign that yells at you. It's like, what are you doing? You're trying to win a race? Yes, sir, boys. Thank you. A piece of heart, son. I like to think James Rolfe has enough reverence for A Link to the Past that he wouldn't interject that it's a piece of fart, son. But you know he wants to. You know he wants to. All right, the only way to get this book at the library is to run it to the shelf. We solved the mystery. Also, there's nobody working in here, son. It's a very high-trust society that can just leave the library of ancient knowledge up. What if some kid came in here and got this book and I could never stop Ganon because I couldn't read nothing? I couldn't read nothing. Now, this is optional, but we're going to pop into town and get some supplies. Go in the back of the bar. That's where they keep the bottle that belongs to us. Thanks. And since you have a bottle, if you go straight across the street, this is where the bug-catching kid lives. But he caught a cold. He says it's the evil air coming off of Death Mountain, but I think he was just skinny dipping in the cold river and didn't want to find out because he'd get a whipping. All right, we got the bug-catching net. We can catch all kinds of things, including bugs. It's a good thing. Hey, brother man, where are you going? Where are you going? Why are you running? I caught him right before the edge of the woods. Oh, everyone thinks we kidnapped Zelda because of Agahnim's propaganda. I mean, from their point of view, technically, we went in the castle on a rainy night and dragged the princess out through a secret tunnel. So from their point of view, we were kidnapping. This is a neat little shed you can blow open and restock your supplies. And if your supply of rat hate is not high enough, you can come in here and slaughter rats for money. I'm just doing it to teach you all a moral lesson about Christmas and consumerism. You're consuming too many rat souls. Rat souls would be the best souls, like, you know I'd play it, son. You know I'd play it. All right, well, we got all this money burning the hole of pocket, and we got a bottle. Let's buy something at the store. That's a fun thing I never normally do in a casual playthrough. I like how your store is like doubles as a chicken coop. I guess that store owner also owns the chickens. They also own the chickens. All right, I need to buy another bottle. And we have the free advertising by holding it over our head. Son, if Fox McCloud or Crystal were here picking up a Bombo for Dad or whatever from Star Fox Adventures, they do the best job of holding it over their head because they get so hyped. There's a fairy in this tree. Oh. Later, when the world state changes, when we enter the world of ruin, there'll be a 20 rupee in there, a red rupee, as some folks say. Some folks calls it a red rupee. I calls it a 20 rupee. That elf boy here is a little feller. No bigger than Octorot. Why'd you kidnap Zelda for? Why'd you kidnap Zelda for? Yes, sir. You all have been real good this year to earn a Carl Childers impression. Oh, yeah. I'm going to have me a full heart container. And it's going to be the best. So this is the game that introduced pieces of heart. Because in Zelda 1 and 2, you just found whole heart containers. But in this game, they were like, well, what if we made it a bunch of little items that you collect? And I think that's a good idea. It makes things, it gives you more things to explore and find rewards, because it's not like you could find this many hearts throughout the game and you'd end up with like 60 damn hearts. Even Time Lords call it excessive. Klingons, however, so they got like 9 livers and like 6 vertebrae, unless they're Worf and an empty plastic barrel falls on them. I appreciate somebody kept all this good shit in the well for the day that they knew the Hera, the elf boy Hera, was going to awaken to justice. The day Ganon wept, son. Now, there are ladies here in the village that if you approach them, they think you're a vandal and they summon the guards. The first time this happened to me as a kid, I felt the worst, although you get the rare green soldier with a spear. So the order of strength for the soldiers is green. They take 2 fighter sword hits, and the spin attack is like a double damage attack. The blue soldiers take 3 fighter sword hits, and then the red soldiers take 4. And there's some rare gold soldiers that we might encounter later in Agahnim's tower. Who wants to come at me with my bow, boys? Oh, they implemented a cool, like, proto sword fighting thing, because if you try to fight these guys head on, your swords will clink together. So that's neat. A lot of neat technology in this game that Hideo Kojima would steal for Metal Gear Solid 2. You know he did. The whole thing where if you try to do a cartwheel is riding on the stairs and you fall over like a sack of potatoes. It's the same thing as running into the wall in Link to the Past, son. I can prove it. You didn't even have a chance to realize I was killing you. All right, we can have some fun adventures here in the swampy marshlands. First of all, you got these guys that like to hide in the bushes and pop up and bother you. If an enemy's using a bow and arrow, there's a good chance they'll drop arrows when you kill them. Birds like to fly at you. Hey, shitlord. Oh, look at you. Perfectly timed patrol route. Epic battle. Now, see that rabbit jumping around? If you cut the grass he's about to land in, oh, he hits you when he's jumping. He's cheating. He'll yell at you that you're a thief and give you something. Thanks. Also, thief? Excuse me, this ain't like Link's Awakening. I didn't steal this bow out of the store. Crabs! I was so distracted by that crab over there that I walked into the Octorot's Hate Rock. To Hate Rock, as they should call him. There's a secret thief hidden in here with money that he owes me, I like to think. Molderms or something, I think these things are called. I like to say. Ow. These guys fight too much. Now they take 2 hits with a fighter sword. That's why I'm trying to get them to spin. I'm spinning to win, son. Get smoked. Well, Ultra fucking Instinct kicked in. Jiren is not going to be a threat as long as that thing is crawling around. Hey, buddy, I'm here to get this shit that belongs to me. I'm the hero, you might have noticed. Elf boy in nature. It's a secret to everybody. So I like that they kept the whole it's a secret to everybody thing. Just it's a little bit more elaborate in this game, but it's the same concept. It's the same concept. All right, we might as well go get the treasure that Sarahasahalara was telling us about. Oh, don't hit these guys, by the way, because if this happens, you can't shoot them with a bow and arrow if a crab doesn't jump in front of it to take that hit. Crab battle, son. Crab, that one crab just ran off the screen. This thing exists only in this corner of the map, and he blows up into little jellyfish. Why, little jellyfish? Why? Who taught you to hate? Who taught you to hate like that? Now, you gotta watch out. Crabs are one of the most powerful enemies in the game. I'm not even joking. An unarmored elf boy like us would take big damage from crabs like that. He came at me, boy, skittering sideways. All right, this ice cave is a nice cave because it has the ice rod, which is a nice rod. My favorite variant of rod from Final Fantasy I Randomizer, the nice rod. He always returns your lawnmower within the fiscal year, within the same fiscal year that he borrowed it. All right, there's another double secret back here. Pro tips aplenty. Pro tips aplenty. First, let's suck up some fairies for help. But if you run into this, you get... Come here to me, buddy. Ow, you're supposed to be my friend. All right, this is a special bee. It's the good bee. Now, if you catch a normal bee in a jar and release it, it gets real mad and attacks things, but it includes you. But the good bee isn't like that, son. The good bee is like our stand power, son. Crab battle. Good bee don't care about crabs. Good bee don't care about crabs. And if you... Oh, he's found more enemies to hate kill. I was wondering where the hell he was going. And if you catch him before he flies away, you can deploy him on different screens. Come here, buddy. You get to live in my pockets and be my best friend. My best friend, bee. Ow. Okay. I had to wake myself up from this dream. Bee eater. Okay, I'm just going to ignore you. Jelly blob monsters are a thing of the past for the good bee. The good bee! Take them down, boys. Take them down. Crab battle. The only annoying part is having to switch back to your net. I wish you could have assigned like L and R to be items as well. I like to think Miyamoto would have thought, see, we took full 2 hearts of damage from that battle crab, son. I'm telling you, they ain't safe to be around. We should have our good bee on ready, son. Why can't we good bee friends, son? All right, these mysterious ruins. We'll explore them later. We got main quest shit to do, son. This perfectly normal man just asks that you ignore him with this sign, but I'm going to pick it up and throw it at a bird, proving I'm the victor. He gets so mad, but he only follows you off to the edge of the screen, and then he realizes that nobody cares. Nobody cares. We'll care about him later. Ooh. Let's see what's in this cave first. A secret and a mystery for me to have. How did they know? How did they know? All right, one of the descendants of the sages is in here. He's got lore, but I don't care about him. I'm more of a data man myself. It's the reason Mike Stacklasa lost the Star Trek The Next Generation trivia contest he had with Rich Evans' son, because he was a data man. But Rich Evans knew about that lore, son. He knew about that lore. The allure of the lore got him, son. All right, fun little side journey, but we got to get into the Desert Palace, son. I got more pendants to collect. My RGB values are all messed up, son. I'll never get this SCART cable working. So that's why we needed the book. This book translates Ancient Helian, because if you try to read these things without the book, this is what it looks like. So it's hard to pick up on their dialect. Bow and arrow. Sometimes they hide extra arrows underneath these pots. Now that's a Beamos. When a Beamos statue gets an eye full of you, he shoots a hate laser. That's fun. This looks like an antlion. Son, Final Fantasy IV called. They want their unique boss fight monster pack. Idiots. Oh, damn it. You hate to miss type of bow and arrow shot. It feels so bad. But on the converse, it feels so good when you do it. On the Reebok or the British Knights, I can't say. Hey guy, this is where Sahasahara tells you to run into shit. He's like, Link, if you ever see something up on top of something, run into it. Also, a octopus statue is about to shoot you in the back of the head with a laser. I'd do something about that if I were you. He's like Cosgrove. Sahasahara is like our Cosgrove. I missed with the arrogant. They get real picky with them hitboxes when you're trying to be a cool bow and arrow guy. We can tell he hates it, son. He's like, I got to shoot my boy younger in the face, trying to get that arrow off of his head because of your hitbox nonsense, son. I should have been Robin Hood. I should have been a fox. Look at that. I talked about money. We're already up to 682 rupees, and we've even already bought the 100 rupee bottle and 150 rupee red potion, son. I told you money's not a huge deal in this game. I'm being shot at by balls. At least they're not homing balls. Like an alpha mission. If you did happen to watch my old-fashioned Kuro Sento Christmas special 2023 that released yesterday on Christmas Eve 2023, hopefully you had a good time. Hopefully you had a good time. Goods and sundries. Ooh, you thought you had me, didn't you? Lucas is about to call this playthrough so bad because we got the power glove. So now we can lift the lighter color rocks that we see out and about that usually block cool shortcuts. They usually block cool shortcuts. If you ever see a rock in your way you can't get around and it's just too heavy to lift without a power glove, you can be reasonably sure there's a cool shortcut under it. Yeah, I've seen this before. I believe there's fairies up there in that room. There's so many rooms in the dungeons of this game that I don't even remember what they look like because you don't have any reason to go in them once you know the route of the game. I like how that vulture tried to pretend we didn't hit him. He's like, oh, what was that? A slight breeze? So yeah, now we can lift these. Also, I like the concept of a dungeon that you like go back on the overworld and enter it from another spot. We'll encounter that a couple of times during this playthrough. What an unthreatening room where a single tile lifts off the floor and spins, son. This room right here, I always imagined falling over the side of here and you would be trapped forever. It'd be like that scene in Rugrats. Do you remember the Rugrats where they're at the post office and Tommy manages to get behind the scenes and he's causing all kinds of male-based mischief? But at one point he's on like a conveyor belt and it's above a room called the dead like letter room. And it's just this like pit with no escape. that it dumps, like, I guess, undeliverable letters into, but there's like a guy's skeleton in the bottom of it. That shit horrified me as a kid. This room also has a single tile. Oh, he was joined by a second one. How nice. How lovely. Hey, buddy. Oh no, I shot slightly too early. We're about to do a puzzle. Oh boy. George Trevor. Lord Spencer turned to George Trevor and was like, write this down. Write this down. George Trevor was like, it needs crests. Needs like a helmet key or something at the very least. All right, we're about to fight a boss, or 3 bosses to be precise. Tony Danza's going to use his multi-form technique, even though he doesn't realize it splits his key. It splits his power level. Let's see if we can beat him with bow and arrow. It's satisfying, but hard to do, because they like to go back in the ground right when they know you've got them dead to rights, son. So you got to try to pre-game that shit and hit them as they're popping up. But you don't know exactly the direction they're going to be flying in. Oh, and you do have to hit them in the head. Their ass is arrow-proof, son. Asses to arrows. The Lammola story. Lammolas, I think these things are called. Oh. Now, when there's only one left, he gains the power of the other 2, and he'll shoot rocks in all directions when he pops up. And then I'll specifically walk into one so that you all know. So that you all know what it's like to walk into the boss's attack. You're like, thanks, Uncle Tenfey. I think one more arrow will kill him. 1 arrow left. Oh! Somehow we won. All right, we got 2 pendants, boys, green and blue. If we had red, boys, would be Christmas colors. Not that this is necessarily strictly a Christmas video. Even if it came out on Christmas Day, and even if it is a Christmas-type present for you kids eating your vegetables. Oh, you're real cool. You're the big man vulture, flying down hitting the elf boy, huh? You really think you're something. Why do the birds hate the elf boy hero so much? Now we can lift this rock up, and these little, I don't know what they're supposed to be, spider crab things. If you catch all of the rupees they shoot out, I think they shoot out like a red one at the end. I guess that makes you feel cool, right? All right, we got to get to the mountains. Oh no, a rock in the way. If only I had the power glove. Filled with power love. We backed him into a corner. He didn't have much choice. I like to take this cool guy route through the castle grounds because I know it pisses off the soldiers when I'm headed up to the mountains. Hold on, let me adjust the mic. I feel like it's... There we go. Hopefully I didn't just ruin the video. Sometimes soldiers hide in the grass. We got some red soldiers throwing spears. Yeah, the game tends to lag around here because it's got to load so many sprites. They got red spear-throwing soldiers in the bushes. I mean, I guess it makes sense that Hyrule Castle would be the most fortified. And I like how they keep one of each color soldier out here in these little side woods, son. It's wholesome. I love that the bow and arrow one-shot green soldiers too. So satisfying. If only we had silver arrows, son. Like silver bells. Like, careful, Uncle Tenfey, getting a bit Christmassy. I'm watching this in July. I can't be having no Christmas thoughts in July. Birds in the trees, man. Birds in the trees. Link misheard when his uncle taught him about the birds and the bees. He thought it was the birds in the trees, and Link's like, oh, I spin attack them. Shut up, idiot. That sign was forbidding anyone from coming up here, and it was written by the king. I bet I didn't even read it. I just used it as a weapon. I'm just trying to see if I can get all the rupees. What's in this tree? Bees! I told you sometimes bees were secrets. I told you sometimes bees were secrets, boys. Little Ben Curacento knows the pain of secret bees in the trees. You're like, he doesn't, Uncle Tenfey, because Animal Crossing doesn't have bees, it has wasps. This old man got lost in the cave because he like dropped his flashlight or his torch or a lantern or what have you. So we have to escort him up the mountain, and he likes to talk. Also, you can't dash, because if you try to dash with this old man, it's like slower than walking. That's how he gets you. Or at least it feels slower than walking. Stop trying to hook me up with your granddaughter. I've got to save the world. Actually, These old men, these sages we're seeing, their descendants are the girls that we'll be rescuing later, spoiler. So I guess we'll encounter his granddaughter, although I don't know which distressed damsel in particular it might be, son. All right, time freezes. He goes inside this cave, but we're very lucky we ran into him because we get the magic mirror. And if we didn't have the magic mirror, we'd be trapped in a sorry state coming up soon. Or maybe not, depending on your preference of Link and his appearance and his species. Son, just saying Wolf Link wasn't the first transformation. You're like, what? What? I based my foundational myths upon the Wolf Link. I build my church. I was going to make a joke. I build my church upon the knot, but I won't do it. Not on Christmas Day. And when I'm recording this, I won't make that joke. Midna would laugh, though. Midna would get it. She strikes me as the type that doesn't put much reverence in Christmas. Sahasaharla's message right there is like, did you know that if you go in the dark world and then exit at a different spot in the dark world and the light world where the ground's different, you might be standing there? You might be standing there. Sounds like something a crazy man would say. The dark world? Transporting across dimensions? More like you transported across having dementia. Poor Sahasaharla. He should have an easier to say name. His name should be Sasha. And he should own a pet cougar. And a cheetah named Messi. Or no, the cheetah's name is Gerda. The puma's name is Messi. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Russian puma owner, if you're watching this. Poof. So in the dark world, you change to reflect your inner heart. This guy could never make decisions, so he became a ball. And this other guy, I guess, was just an asshole, so he became a more different type of asshole. But he just walks around and kicks this dude. I've always thought this guy's outfit is a lot like Link's. It's like wearing like a green tunic. Although he's got a white belt, boys. After Labor Day, it's embarrassing. Well, this is Spectacle Rock. You may have noticed this was a cave that we went inside of earlier. But if we warp back to the light world, we're now standing on top of it. You now have encountered the gimmick of Link to the Past, son. And it's a good one. It blew my mind as a kid. You're like, I don't know, maybe if Link turned into a 2D picture and walked along the walls. If he walked along the walls. Maybe. This is the Tower of Hera. It's very vertical. This is where they introduce those switches. Also, if you use the magic mirror in a dungeon, you teleport to the entrance. And I don't even need to point out that that's a good thing. God, those lamias or molderms. So annoying. I'm glad they're real little. We never had to deal with them. All right, unfortunately in this room, we can't ignore the tiles. We have to defeat all of them until they form a skull pattern at the bottom. You can't just hold your sword out, although it doesn't cover every possible angle. And if you let go of the button at the wrong time, Link does a spin attack, which can leave you open. It can leave you vulnerable. What you have to do is, after the little charge, you just wait for the animation to finish and then let go of the button, because if you do it any earlier than that, he'll spin attack. And unlike League of Legends playing as Garen, spinning isn't always winning. Yeah, it's a real cute picture. I'm glad we had to sit here for it. Speedrunners love that shit. Get the hell out of my way. You're getting a big spin attack. Boy. Skeletons in the room. Now, we know that when you see 4 sconces, they gotta be lit. The red-headed skeletons, the red-headed step skeletons here are more annoying because if you try to hit them with your sword, they hop away and throw a bone at you. So you got to obliterate them in one strike. I wonder if you can hit them with the ice rod. Oh, yeah, they don't like that. And I love that they don't like that. All right, let's get back upstairs. Oh, that's not the magic mirror. I was in this room, so my brain, the RAM in my brain was like, when he's in that room, that means he's got to have the lamp equipped. It's just nothing else makes sense. Nothing else makes sense. Okay, these guys are kind of aggravating. They're like crystal switches that run up at you. And the thing that's aggravating about them is they knock you back and try to knock you into pits. If I fell in that pit right there, Shigeru Miyamoto would have just busted out laughing wherever he is right now. I guess it's Christmas. No, it's the day after Christmas in Japan, son. Christmas has already been spoiled. All right, we want the orange pegs to be down for a reason. It involves being bad at fighting the boss, so I should probably make contingencies for that. If you can throw a pot, they're the best weapon in the game. You'll notice way at the beginning, the first quote-unquote boss, that ball and chain soldier that was guarding Zelda, get the hell away from me. He, 2 thrown pots kill him, although you'd had to hit him a shitload of times with the sword and the boomerang. I don't really use the boomerang much in this game, to be honest. Alright. We can't forget the Moon Pearl. The Moon Pearl allows us to not turn into a pink bunny rabbit in the Dark World. I guess you could like set it down or store it in a locker if you wanted to be a pink bunny rabbit, although you can't use swords or items when you're a pink bunny rabbit because you're too pure of heart. You're too mofu mofu and too usagi, son. Link's got to unlock the kimono within, the okami within. Now all of these have hearts under them. And if the boss knocks you down here, you can grab them as you go. Speaking of which, this guy, this is the most aggravating of the Light World bosses, because his whole gimmick is he's trying to knock you off the ledge, and if you hit his eyes, it knocks you back. So you got to hit his dangle bob on his tail. Dangle bob tail is what we'll call this guy. See, he almost had me. As many times as I played through this game, I've never quite gotten the perfection of fighting this guy. And if I fall off the side, don't be surprised. It's more likely than you think. Get the hell away from me. This place can't be up to standard. That's Ganon's greatest evil. Okay, he's 1 hit from dead. Ooh, somehow we won. Okay, we have all 3 pendants, so we can go pull the Master Sword, son, and we're gonna get an SS 5-star rank Master Sword pull, son. We'll be hooked on the Goddess Helia gotcha forever. All right, you gotta be careful in this cave because there's holes in the floor, and if you go dashing around too willy-nilly, you'll end up in the holes in the floor. This room right here, here's the trick. You dash to the left, and right before the end, you stop dashing, because if you don't, you'll hit right here and fall in that hole. And Shigeru Miyamoto will laugh and laugh because, as always, he's immortal. Idiot. These are the Country Blumpkin brothers, or something their name is. They talk about how that tree feels weird while they're sawing it. When the world state advances, we might come pay that a visit. Tell you what, let's do another game of chance that I never do. This one is high stakes because it costs 100, but you can win 300. I'm just going to go for the right chest immediately. Well, we only lost 80 rupees. What a shame. I have on a whim won that one before, and it does feel really good. Although, once again, rupees aren't the biggest deal. Everything's made up and the rupees don't matter. Oh, we're in the Lost Woods, by the way. So that's neat. That's neat. They're real misty. Oh. This guy out here, these dudes are like thieves in hiding. He tells you that one of the former members is hanging out at the entrance to the desert. You might remember a certain inconspicuous man who gets mad when you mess with his sign was hanging out there. I think there's a rupee in this tree. Nope. Doesn't one of these trees have a rupee in it? For me, the elf boy hero to have? Oh, fine. Only sour grapes. This mushroom smells like rotten fruit. And apparently that's a good thing. If we run into anybody who loves rotten fruit mushrooms, son, if you got somebody who whenever we're trying to order a pizza, they're always like, I want rotten mushrooms. And you're like, man, can we get them on half? No, I want them on a whole damn pizza. Look at these woodland creatures. Now this has an inscription on the front, and I read it as a kid, and it contained one of those words that I didn't understand and learned through a video game, and that's cataclysm. It had the word cat in it, so I was immediately intrigued, but I didn't actually know what the word meant. All right, super magical moment that I'm going to not ruin for y'all, so get hype. Now, apparently Sahasaharla can contact us at any point like Zelda did. So why do I need his little triangle tablets to talk to him? The sanctuary is being raided. That's Zelda yelling. I like to think it was the priest. So you'll see there are these fake master swords around. I'll go get one. Oh, those guys are thieves. You don't actually fight them. But if they run into you, like your goods and sundries explode out of your body. Yeah, I do like the little cute addition of those fake master swords. In the Dark World, those thieves become foxes, son. It's very thematic. Even Robin Hood was a thief. Now, we can get more mushrooms, but there's no reason to. Also, I forgot, now that we have the Master Sword, when we fill up our hearts, we can shoot our sword with power. I'm actually not a huge fan of this game's sword laser. Like, I think the Zelda 1 sword laser is a lot cooler. I like the noise it makes, and it shoots out like a version of your sword. But these are useful. The main downside to them is they always do the same damage as the fighter sword. So that no matter how powerful our sword gets, we're still shooting level 1 damage. But I mean, it is free as long as we have full HP. Now, you might expect me to go storm the castle, but there's actually an optional item we can get. Well, optional right now. It's not optional for the whole game, but you know what I'm trying to say. Son, birds and jelly blob monsters are a thing of the past. We can beam away the worries. Well, we got nicked once, so we're not allowed to do it. Well, ain't you just Dodgy McGee in the Dodge universe, son? Nobody drives a Nissan in the Dodge universe. We need to go back up the mountain real quick, but it won't take long because we don't have old man Jenkins slowing us down this time, son. We can just run up the mountain and run up our light bill, son. Running the air conditioner, leaving the fridge door open too long, taking a real long hot shower. Sometimes it's worth running your light bill up. You recall that when Walter White had all that money that he was trying to launder in Breaking Bad, one of the big things he just splurged on without explanation was the infinite hot water heater. That rock was coming at me, boys. You saw it. Son, Dwayne Johnson took a swing at me. I was the blameless victim. I was the blameless victim. Another fun thing about coming up here is we get to see our good friends in the Dark World again, and they get to be jealous that we didn't become a pink bunny rabbit, son. Huzzah. Sometimes there's a fairy under one of these. Yep. Hey, guys. He's like, wow, mister. Maybe your inner... If you're like so at peace with your inner self that your inner self reflects your outward self, I imagine the Dark World would have no power over you, son. If only Ganon knew that. The plot of this game is that Ganon found the Dark World, or he found the Golden Land where the Triforce of the Goddesses was kept, and he wished to conquer it. Hold up the Master Sword and you would get the magic of Ether. So we couldn't have got this earlier because we needed the Master Sword, son. If you ask which magic spell we got, it's either Ether or either it ain't. But yeah, Ganon got into the Golden Land and wished to rule everything, and it transformed him into Ganondorf. Spoilers, he's a big blue pig. But he couldn't figure out how to escape out of what became the Dark World, because it was originally the Golden Land, but Ganon's heart corrupted it, and that's why everything's fucked. That's why you turn into your first Sona, son. If I went into the warp thing and became like a tiger man, I'd be like, oh, I'm done. Ganon can do whatever the hell he wants. I'm all right. I'm all right. Plus, I wouldn't need a sword to shield. I'd have powerful tiger arms. Powerful tiger arms. Oh, you wonder what Ether is? It does this. Get froze, shitlords. Watch your magic meter. Apples for me. So these apple items are kind of neat. They don't really come back in any future Zeldas, but they're just like a heart container. Or not a heart container, like a loose heart. Thanks. So remember these 3 multicolored soldiers out here? I was going to freeze them, but then they ignored me, except for the green guy. Don't get the green guy. Ow. It would be nice to have some green potion going in here, but we'd have to go so far out of our way that I'm not going to bother. Oh, remember how weak we were the first time we came in here? Now, the reason we're coming back here with the Master Sword, we need to go up the tower and defeat Agahnim before he banishes Zelda to the next dimension, before he watches the terrible first part of the English dub of Dragon Ball Z. and decides to banish Zelda to the next dimension. We have to get up here, but there was this... If you came up here earlier, there's this beam in the way that electrocutes you, but the Master Sword takes care of that. All right, boys, the final dungeon of the game. This is it. Now, these guys are real tough unless you happen to have ether magic. Then they just get froze. And the best part is you can pick them up and defeat them with each other. Now, if you had some sort of magic hammer, smashing frozen enemies has a very high chance of dropping a magic container, but I don't know where we would get a magic hammer, son. That's just a pipe dream. You know who else we got? Our good friend, the Good Bee, could be helping us fight these soldiers. These guys could be staggered pretty easy. Thanks for the fairy. Glottal error when I saw the fairy. Now things get dark and spooky. The Good Bee doesn't care about the darkness and the spookiness, though. Good Bee, you could have done a little bit faster. I'm just saying, let me get hit. Let me get hit. I know I'm talking shit, but you're supposed to prevent me from getting hit, Good Bee. Oh, Bee, my Good Bee. Oh no, not a maze. If only I had a bee who was real good. If only. If only. Oh, he doesn't recognize those eyeball bats as an enemy until they start floating around, I think. Until they start talking shit. We need to catch our bee again before I start messing with any lanterns. In fact, let's go ahead and get our... The menu's aggravating to navigate before you get all the items. Oh no, we took our Good Bee for granted and he's gone. We'll always remember the good times, Good Bee. We'll always remember the good times. You can also light this place up. It's a useful thing. In some occasions. Although you want to watch your magic meter if you want to keep busting out them ethers, especially after you squandered your Good Bee. Especially after you squandered your Good Bee. Alright, I don't... Oh, I do have lasers. I forgot a heart drop. Look at that magic container, boys. Get my ether warmed up, which is ironic because it's ice magic. What's in this room? Ice sculptures are in this room, from my point of view. Oh. The first time I thought to do this as a kid, because the first time I played through the game, I came in here and it was the most dramatic assault, and I was fighting things tooth and nail. Just could scrape by. But nowadays when I come in here, I'm like, oops. Accidentally froze all my enemies to death and dropped 500 million yen. Well, look at you floating in the air. If we wanted to for fun, we could light these sconces, but I don't want to. I don't want to. That's just me. And I don't want to. Idiot. He fell to his frozen death. Oops. Boom. The best part is either is not even my favorite magic spell, son. It's just the first one you can get. Hey guys, once again I got hit right when I was using either. Now we're out of magic. Would one of y'all drop a big magic container? I'm just saying. This is where Sahasrahla tells you that you can't hit Agahnim directly. No matter how much shit he talks, you've got to deflect his hate magic back at him with the Master Sword. You'll notice that's a thing that became quite common in future Zelda games. Alright, there's going to be a couple of red spear guys in here, but I want to hit them with the swirl attack, because, like I said, if we use this, we got to hit them 4 times. Magic containers for me, please. Make mine magic container. Just a little bit, man. I just need a little taste of that magic, man. I just need a hit of that green stuff, man. Nah, I couldn't get any. This next room has a gold soldier in it, and I'd like to freeze him, but they were stingy with the magic. So he's basically an advanced version. Wow, an 8-bomb drop. Too bad I'm capped at 10 bombs. Boys, you know he's got HP when it takes 4 arrows. This room is real good to have either in because you're behind this little thing here. I wonder if we could throw a bomb over there. Let's experiment here in my fake Christmas video. No, you can't. What a fun experiment we had. That's what I get for referencing the big C word day. If you're Australian, you're like, is he talking about Cuntsmas? Oi! I didn't think a Yank knew about Cuntsmas. Alright, you crowd formed the perfect affront against me. So I'll give you that. I'm gonna take it out on your friends, the blue soldiers, though. The Earthgate Vampire hates it when you bully the blue soldiers. He's like, they're the only ones with integrity, damn it. Here I come, Agahnim. Get ready. I'm more of an Agna turkey guy myself. Well, now that he's banished all 7 descendants, including Zelda, of the sages that sealed Ganon, he can somehow escape to the light world eventually. A lot of people get stuck here because they don't realize you can move these curtains with a sword swipe. Young me actually didn't get stuck there, if you can believe it. You're like, I don't. All right, the gimmick here is you got to hit his magic balls back at him. He can shoot the good magic balls, or he can give you blue balls, which disperse when you hit them, and it's RNG. You know, speedrunners love it. One time in my mini playthroughs that I remember, I got all good balls. The fastest pattern, son. All good balls come to an end. Son, you gotta be ready for it. If we had a more upgraded shield, we could block those. Now, when he's in the middle, he's just gonna shoot lightning, so don't even bother, son. It's also his favorite Final Fantasy is 13. That's when you know he's truly evil, son. Truly evil. I can get an argument for 15, and I have nothing against people that enjoy Final Fantasy 15. Some of my best friends enjoy Final Fantasy 15, but 13, you're just being a contrarian at that point. Lightning. Lightning! We're getting bad patterns with our blue balls, son. But we'll get him. We're the hero after all, and you gotta love us. Thanks. Yep. Summon and salt. He knows the pain. Here we are, boys, the Dark World, at the top of the Pyramid of Power. So this Ganon is inside of here. There's also a heart container over here. So the first time I reached this point in this game, I'm telling you, it seemed like the most epic thing of all time as a kid. Like, my mind was blown. I was like, oh god, there's a second Dark World full of mystery and danger. All right, you'll see people turn into pigs and such in the Dark World. I like to think Ganon endorses that. You win a lot of brownie points with Ganon if your heart reflects a pig. My heart reflects a pig. Oh god. Just hope we don't run into Krabs the Warthog. Well, ain't you just a bucket of joy? At least you dropped money for my troubles. All right, let's pop in this little store and we'll see an interesting... actually, I don't think it's this sword that sells the interesting item. I'll show it to you later. But if we warp back to the light world, we're actually outside the witch's hut. And witches love mushrooms. So if we come back later, she'll give us something good. Oh my. Now her apprentice here in the potion shop, if you talk to her, she'll give you a taste of red medicine so you can get full health. So red restores your HP, green restores your magic, and blue restores both, boys. Let's get us a blue potion for later. Zelda aid. All right. But we need to be back in the dark world for what we're doing. Good things happen in the dark world if you're the hero and know what you're doing. So the Octorots here turn into these little things. Here's one of these classic... Oh, sometimes the skulls come to life when you touch them. This is another one of those little classic things that I love in video games that are pointless, like my beloved little spot of water in level 2-5 of Mario 3. Like, why is this here? Little kid me. I mean, I walked around this whole map. At one point, you temporarily get a shovel. And I walked around and dug, like, everywhere, son. I was obsessed with finding all the secrets. Curses to anyone who throws something into my circle of stones. I see. Telling me what I can do, huh? Acting like I ain't the hero, huh? Here's your sign. Son, time for an earthquake. All right. You might recognize him. He comes back in Link's Awakening as the 5th dungeon, the Catfish Maw. All right, we're back in the light world, and now we can head up into the Waterfall of Wishing. I wish Azora would come up here and mess with me in Waterfall of Wishing. No, let's try out our new Quake magic. Let's see if it affects water enemies. Those guys are in the air, so it might not affect them. Oh. Let's try that again. Oh. This is where you farm bombs, son. I wish I could carry more than 10. So if you just kind of dash through. Now, if we try to go into deep water in this game, you can't swim. If you're wondering why we've been avoiding the deep water. You crowd look like you could use some either. Either some either or either you can't. Oh! Yeah. Using these oh, if you hit one of them on the land, you can pick them up and throw them. I thought that was so strange but interesting the first time I discovered that as a kid. All right, well, thankfully we got 500 big ones because King Zora, after his minions tried to slaughter me. Ooh, you look a little different than the King Zora the kids probably know from Ocarina of Time. He's gonna let me warp away the worries through the whirlpools. Whirlpool, warp away the worries, he says. All right, it was worth it now because we can swim. You may have noticed this piece of heart up here. I didn't have the piece of heart to mention it. No, I thought he was gonna jump. And you can go over waterfalls. What a fun time we had in Zora's Domain. Just walk out of here like a professional. Now, before we head back into the dark world, we should visit the Waterfall of Wishing, which happens to be right up here. I wish a waterfall would be right up here, son. Throw something in. I'd love to. Let's throw our boomerang. She's like, did you throw this in here? Yes. Well, apparently our honesty rewarded us. Now we have the magic boomerang. It goes further and it goes faster. Apparently speedrunners sometimes don't get this because the blue boomerang has like different uses. Well, anyway, you could throw basically everything in here, and young me did. But if we throw our shield in there, we might get a shield that's a little bit redder, and that makes it just a little bit better. All right, now we can deflect fireballs, and our shield looks really cool. Now, we have nothing else to throw. If you throw an empty bottle in there, don't do it, son. Shia LaBeouf's reverse doppelganger showed up. If you throw an empty bottle in there, it gives you a green potion. You'll notice Link never holds his shield down because they reflect it as Sprite, although I think the instruction manual justifies it by saying that Link superstitiously always points his shield north towards Death Mountain. I bought that explanation as a kid. I was like, well, that's all you needed to say? You had me at Death Mountain, son. Yeah, I think the red shield's my favorite one in this game. The final shield we're gonna get is like really big, and it kind of overpowers Link's sprite. So I've always been a red shield fan. And the last shield is actually optional, technically, but we're gonna get it, because why wouldn't we? Got 100% the game. All right, enough time has passed since we gave her that mushroom that we can now pop in here right quick and get our magic powder. Try sprinkling it on many things. So you have an unlimited use of it as long as you have magic meter. It doesn't have like its own ammo. Now, if you use one on one of these cucumber guys, he turns into this, and you can talk to him. Neat. Kukamon, I think he's called. You're like, more like Cuck Man. Got him. If you use it on some regular enemies, they turn into this little, that thing. The enemy's called a slime. It's like the weakest enemy in the game. The Quake spell sometimes turns enemies into that too. So that could technically be counted as interesting. You notice the trees look like they have faces. The faces of evil. All right, we're gonna ignore those pigs because they're not the type of enemy that like homes in on you. Oh, I say that and they punished me for my mercy. It's like letting a goblin child go, son. The Goblin Slayer knows. All right, we're not gonna mess with you, crowd. I like how their spears have like a round tip thing. Now they put this little spot right here because if you warp back to the light world right here, you can swim under this bridge and meet our good friend Hobo Joe. Everyone always forgets about Hobo Joe, son. He's like, what are you doing? Trying to stop Ganondorf and save the world? Well, here, you can have my bottle. I used to keep Skull in it, but I reckon you can save the world. I'm just living under here rent-free, son. Rent-free. Crowd on the bridge is mad. The overworld becomes more dangerous after you beat Agahnim, by the way. That's what I thought we meant by the world state advancing. The game has 3 states. It has the rainy state at the beginning of the game where normally you can't leave the Hyrule Castle area. And then it has the when you first get out of the cathedral after rescuing Zelda state. And then it has post-Agahnim. We have to live in a post-Agahnim world, son. I just realized I'm going to need a little bit more money than I have, son. I was talking shit about money earlier. We need 110 rupees. You might recall when I was talking about our expenses earlier, I said we needed 110 rupees for a monkey. Kiki the monkey. If we give them 10 rupees, they'll follow us around, and as long as we don't get hit, which means we need to stop talking shit, they won't run away. Because we're going to need them to open the door to the Palace of Darkness. The bomb-throwing ogres, god damn it, have a ton of HP, but they're actually weak to bombs, if you can believe it. If you use them wisely. Peppy Hare knows. Peppy Hare knows how to fight ogres. Oh. Alright, we gotta save up enough money that we can beat that damn, or get that damn monkey. So, now this you'll remember is where the Eastern Palace was in the Light World. So if we warp back to the Light World right here, we can fight these Armo statues some more and hope they drop money. Nope. Nope. Sometimes you can pull on some of these statues and money come out of them. I've never figured out why or how, but I'm not crazy. It's a thing that happens sometimes. Back up with that spear, boy. You crowd are stingy on Christmas Day. I'm playing this game for the kids. That's what I get for gambling earlier. If I hadn't have done that, we'd be fine. See, I was trying to teach you kids a valuable moral lesson about the dangers of gambling when you're the hero and you got to get a monkey somewhere. When you gotta get a monkey somewhere. We can go in there and talk to Sasahara Harala and be like, hey, you spot me a couple rupees, man? I'm just trying to save the world, man. They're like, yeah. You're just gonna blow it on blue potions. That's kind of what I did when you think about it. That's exactly what I did when you think about it. All right, by the time we go back in the Dark World, beat all the enemies that would have the potential to chase Kiki the monkey off, I think we'll be all right. Now that I've officially ruined the playthrough. Fun fact, it's been a long time since I got to this point and didn't have enough rupees. I've been having too good a time chatting it up with y'all. So I apologize for that. It should have been serious business. It should have been serious, tangentially Christmas-related business. It's 1:11 p.m. on Christmas Day. Will I get the video done and uploaded in time? Let's hope. Hopefully you crowd are eating vegetables right now, son. That's why I'm doing this. I'm just trying to delay the video release long enough for y'all to get vegetables. He has never walked over here. A bunch of world firsts happening in my Link to the Past holiday special that you could watch any time of year. They're like Stelladora breakfast treats. You can have them anytime, son. You can have them anytime. I can't believe how stingy the drops have been. Legitimately, I don't believe it. Miyamoto had his hand in it, son. He's had his finger in a lot of puddings. Plum and figgy as they may be. Miyamoto has eyes everywhere. Shit, we might need to go inside the Eastern Palace. There's a bunch of those enemies right at the beginning of this dungeon that tend to drop rupees. Man, the game's never been this stingy before. I'm glad y'all were here to witness it, son. I'm glad y'all were here. There we go. One of them was kind enough to drop a big red rupee. Plus, it lets us refamiliarize yourself with this room, because you could see the parallels in the Dark World, son. I was just trying to teach you all about parallels, son, so you be ready for that episode of Next Generation. I warped inside of a bag snake monster. Damn you, bag snake monster. Damn you. He came at me, son. He came at me. Oh, now you drop money. Now you're like, oh, you wanted money, did you? Is that what you want for Christmas? The greatest gift of all, cash money. For hoes. Pigs are tough. They must have like red or blue soldier stamina. Okay, we've removed all obstacles. Now you and I will advance the game state to the death. It makes no difference. Good times. Fun little side excursions, we'll call it. That's what we'll call it. I like that they put gorillas out here. That's, I guess, supposed to be your context clue that you need to bring a monkey here. Good job, us. Look at this, a very similar shape to the other place. All right, I think this is the next item we're going to use. Those guys look like they're having a lot of fun down there, but they shoot beams at you. But remember, we got a red shield now, and red shields block beams. Oh, trying to hit me? Too bad you're in the direction of Death Mountain. Oh no! My superstitions, they came true. Okay, next we're going to use the bow. The Dark World dungeon music is much more sinister than the Light World counterpart, you'll notice. Ooh, this is my chance to show you what happens to anti-fairies when you got the magic powder. This is something I learned at some point as a kid, and it's a game changer if I don't miss. Now, the thing that sucks about anti-fairies, other than the fact that they always come at you, is if they do hit you, you also lose magic meter. But they're a good source of fairies. So, there's that. And riboflavin. Those jellyfish like to electrocute, and if you hit them while they're electrocuting, it hurts you. These guys are mimics. They follow your every move. The regular ones can be killed with a sword strike, but the red mimic can only be killed with arrows. And if you face him, he shoots a beam. I had to get hit by it. So you have to hit him with, you have to shoot an arrow and make him walk into it. It's satisfying. Slimy yet satisfying. Here we go. They definitely ramp up the difficulty as soon as you get to the Dark World, because this Palace of Darkness is like 10 times harder than any Light World dungeon. The orange ones split when you hit them. And the little ones also electrocute, so don't think they're real electro-cute. All right, we need to blow this wall open. And then we can actually blow open this wall, and there's a secret fairy area for fun. Chest for me. Keys for me. Those little whack-a-mole looking things up there, we'll deal with them in a minute when we have the proper weapon. Now, you can also catch fairies in a bottle, and they resurrect you when you die, although I think it increases your death counter, which means it's dead to me, son. That's another thing about this game is you have to beat it in one setting, and you can't save and quit or die, because at the end of the game, it puts a little number next to your profile. And the only way to get all zeros, oh, I didn't need to go this way, I needed to blow the floor up, is to never save and quit, because you can get around the map a lot faster if you save and quit, because you can start at Link's house or the Sanctuary or up in the mountains or at the Pyramid of Power if you're in the Dark World. But for some reason, they made that count towards, it'll say during the credits, number of games played. And it lists like each dungeon, son. And if you don't get 000, son, Shigeru Miyamoto, you'll never impress him. I mean, you can't impress him anyway, but it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt to get triple zeros. These skeletons are the same type that attacked us when we got our bow. Their heads come off and come flying at you. Their heads come flying at you. We've magic transported our way back down here. These little dudes are called Helmosaurs, and they're aggravating, but luckily they're real little. I can handle real little Helmosaurs. Hopefully we never have to do anything greater. Greater than little Helmosaur. I'll take this. Oh. Some of those fun Tower of Hera guys. All right, if we want to be cool guys, we're going to throw a bomb over here and blow open this left wall as we're coming up this way. So when we approach it from the dark maze, we don't have to worry about it. Speaking of the dark maze, I could really use... Well, nah, I don't need magic that bad. I was going to drink that blue potion, but I don't need magic that bad. Although this room is less aggravating if you can freeze these little dudes. If only that was a big magic container. If only. Like the big salad, Mina Lane Bennis. When she goes to that other diner, and she's like, can I get the big magic container? And they're like, we don't have that. Could you take 2 little magic containers and put them in a big bottle? I'll see what I can do. All the background characters in Seinfeld are so hateful. Then again, the main cast was kind of hateful too. I think this is this a key we need, or is this bombs? It's a key we need. I felt it in my key filling bones. All right, if you should stop, because it's hammer time. Apparently the Japanese version makes a reference to MC Hammer. I believe Legends of Localization point out. All right, now that we got the hammer has level 3 power, which is 1 stage above the Master Sword, if the Fighter Sword is level 1 power. It also flips turtles. These turtles are invincible otherwise, in case you're wondering why I wasn't fighting the turtles. If you're Shredder after he turned me into a Tiger Man that one time, and you're like, I turned you into a damn tiger, go fight the turtles. If you actually watched my 9th Final Fantasy Randomizer episode, the Moogle episode, Wake Me Up Before You Cupo, is the name of the episode, by the way, you would know that that's not possible, because in the scenario where Shredder, after I joined his gang, finally turned me into a Tiger Man with the the thought of fighting the turtles, I just immediately left. You guys again. You guys again. Fit for killing, because it's you guys again. My sword beams are weak. Make my sword beam strong. You could just shoot with a bow and arrow. I was just trying to be cool for you kids. Once again, I was trying to be cool guy Christmas. All right, this room right here, the first time I rented this game as a kid, I got stuck here for a long time because I didn't realize you were supposed to do this. If only Saharla had a little triangle there. It was like, you ever tried shooting a statue in the eye? I think that's supposed to invoke the Armosas from the Eastern Palace, and that's what's supposed to make you think, oh, I need to shoot these guys in the eye. But as ignorant as I am now, young me was even more ignorant, if you can believe it. Not even Fred Sanford could believe somebody could be so ignorant, and he has to live with Lamont. Okay. It's fun. So these guys only appear in the Dark World, except in one instance that I'll mention when we get to it way later in the game towards the end. But it's just another little quirk of the Dark World. I guess hammer pegs in the Dark World, their spirit reflects a little grinning whack-a-mole thing. Now, the downside of these dudes is when you swing the hammer again to defeat them, it flips them back over. And you can use your sword, but it takes more hits, and the hammer just does it in one. The hammer just does it in one. All right, this is where the game really takes the gloves off, because the first 3 bosses really aren't that hard, even if you don't know what you're doing. But this guy right here we're about to fight is like the first, hey kid, maybe learn how to play the damn game boss. So wish me luck, son, pray for me. All right, the game wants you to knock his hammer off, or his mask off with the hammer, but I have such a fun time doing it with bombs that I like to try to do it, despite what Peppy Hare might say about the wiseness of that. His mask should be pretty weak. All right, now that we see your jewel, son, light him up, light him up, light him up, light him up. Deeps race. Deeps racing, boys. We're not taking any chances with this deeps race, son. I ain't died on Christmas. Red potion. All right, he should die in like one more arrow. One arrow left. Hey, laughing boy. Okay, one more. Two more. Three more. Eat your arrows. They're like vegetables. Somehow we won. Yeah, that boss is serious fucking business, boys. But we did it. We're Elf Boy heroes, son. This is where we prove our way into the Dark World. All right, so here in the Dark World, when we beat a dungeon, one of the maidens appears and gives us a little bit of story. This is where we learn about the Golden Land. I've already told them about this and how Ganon corrupted it. All that fun stuff. Just the kind of thing you do when you're the Prince of Thieves and the King of Evil and a big blue pig man. And a big blue pig man. She knows. She's seen the end of the video. Son, she's from the future. She knows I'm gonna win. May the way of the hero lead to the Triforce. Fun times, baby. All right, now that we have this hammer, a lot of the Dark World is open up to us. You have to do the Palace of Darkness first because you can't escape the little area of the Dark World you're in without the hammer. So you could technically go in there and get the hammer and leave without rescuing the girl. There's not really any reason to unless you're just doing stuff as a kid because you've played this game 100 times. But this game is actually fairly open now. There's a lot of different dungeons we could do, and I'm not going to play through the game in the order they recommend. I did that the first time I played it, and then never again. Then my eyes were open. Sequence breaks, his eyes open. Tenfey, when the misery mire fell. Elf Boy, his master sword tempered. Get the hell off of me, Spearman! I know it's the greatest melee weapon of all time, but I don't feel like dealing with your nonsense. We can actually pop by our house anytime we want, and there's some parts that respawn. Also, this chest in the corner has the lantern in it at the beginning of the game. It's actually in several different chests. If we open it now, it just has money in it. And I've learned recently that I actually need money. I've learned that I'm bad at hoarding rupees. I'll leave that last one for my uncle, if he ever comes back from heaven, where he went to get that milk and cigarettes. All right, we need to enter the Dark World, and there happens to be a transporter right here, but we needed a hammer. Boom. All right, the first thing we're going to do now that we're hyped to be exploring the Dark World is visit what they call the Hype Cave. So I've watched a lot of randomizer races of this game, and this cave has 5 checks in it. And I guess a lot of times you find really good items in here, so they call it the Hype Cave. 300 rupees is one. Also, you'll notice he's become like a fennec fox. I told you. The thieves become foxes, and I told you how appropriate it was. You can love foxes while... I think if you're the kind of person that loves foxes, you love their mischievous nature enough that you don't mind them being depicted as thieves, son. It's so class appropriate. All right. While I'm here in the area and thinking about it, we're going to go grab a piece of heart over here in the frozen lake. That'll be fun. That'll be fun. Frozen lake antics are always fun, boys. Oh. God, these things dropped bombs on you. That is the equivalent of a like. He can eat our shield, which means we'd have to replace it, and it would be very expensive unless we knew how to get a fairy and a magic wishing water fountain to enhance it for us. So the only way to get on this island is to warp up here. Jellyfish man's or Jelly Blob guy's like, how'd you get on my damn island? Who let you up here? Who? Okay, that heart container is like always out of the way, so I just went ahead and grabbed it now. Unfortunately, that means we have to go back into this magic transporter, but you've already watched me run around begging for rupees to pay off a monkey to get me in a dungeon, so I figured you wouldn't mind a little minute-long detour. He was doing everything he could to block the magic transporter, son. Now, the technical Dark Dungeon number 2 is here in this swamp, but like I said, you don't gotta play this game in order, and I find it suboptimal to play it in order, son, because we could become quite powerful. Now, you remember earlier I said the trees look like faces. You'll notice this tree has eyeballs that follow us. If you see a tree with eyeballs that follow you and bump into them, they spit out a bomb, and then they talk to you. So these are people that wandered into the dark world and got turned into trees. Some of them give you tips, and some of them tell you to go away. So this is supposed to teach you that you need to warp up here, and you get to this cave. Cave like 43 or something like that, the randomizer players call it, because it's like the 43rd check you did. Another reason I wanted to finally play this game for y'all and get over myself is I've wanted to play Link to the Past randomizers for y'all for so long, but I was like, well, I got to do a proper playthrough. And the only thing I've ever done is for the 12 Days of Link, I played through like the light world half of this game. Because I always thought to myself, it's got to be grand and such, but then it wouldn't really be Tenfey, would it? All right, this guy used to sit up here and play a flute, but then he wandered into the dark world and became this like deer boy thing. And I guess when you're a deer boy thing, you can't play the flute. He gave us this shovel and said somewhere in the light world, he buried his flute with some flower seeds. So that's his ghost right there. If you try to walk over to it, it disappears. Some folks calls it a flute. I calls it an ocarina. So this place is real mysterious if you come here at the beginning of the game, because that ghost always disappears when you go near him. So it's completely optional, but we could play his ocarina for him one last time. So let's do it. His mind is getting hazy. My God, I guess he's slowly turning into a tree, is the what I always pictured. All right, well, that was fun. We bumped into the bushes. I told you, it'll do it to you every time. Now, if we blow the flute, I'm just going to call it the flute because it's what the game calls it, even though it's clearly an ocarina. It doesn't do anything in the dark world. Now, this is another thing I never do, the shooting gallery. I guess we'll try it for you kids. This guy's like a unique NPC. So you're trying to hit those octopus things in the back, and you want to land all of your shots and not hit any of the hamburger helper hands. See, we already fucked up. We've already fucked up. I'll go one more time just so you kids can see, but I've never been good at this game because I never really do it. I guess this is the proto shooting gallery range that they had. So every time you hit one, not only does he beat his little drum, but you get a multiplier. So if you want to make your money back, you got to land a lot of shots, which of course I didn't. Whatever, I don't even want your whatever it was you would have given me. I just wanted the kids to see the truth. Now you'll notice we can't get into the village of outcasts as it's known because there's a heavy rock here that we can't lift. So we're going to have to approach it from another angle vis-a-vis the light world. In the meantime, we get to do my favorite thing. So this is where that little hedge maze was. Here in the dark world, it's the digging field. You dig for 80 seconds and keep whatever you get, and usually you make money, but there is a piece of heart here, and it is completely RNG. And I have spent a lot of time digging these plots up. So hopefully it won't take us too long here in my special video that you kids are enjoying, hopefully. As long as you get a couple of red rupees, you'll make your money back and you can keep trying, but it's very frustrating. And it's not like it's in the same spot every time, or obviously I would just go dig it up. Obviously. Don't get distracted by the rupees. It's more important to dig as many times as possible. Thanks. And the worst part is you've got to leave the screen and come back. If you bring the shovel, by the way, the flute replaces the shovel. That's why it's temporary. In the Game Boy Advance version, you actually keep the shovel and can use both whenever, because the shovel will randomly dig up like hearts and rupees and stuff throughout the world. But if you bring that shovel here, you don't dig up anything. If you're not within this little time frame, it doesn't count. It doesn't count. son. They're real strict about that kind of stuff here at the digging field. So really all you want to do is just try to get as many digs as possible. You got to know when to dig them and when to jig them, son. I like to dig like this walking forward because then we can collect the rupees as we go and get our money back without ruining anything. Damn it. I was hoping that last dig would be a miracle. I really don't want this to take too long. It's 1:32 on Christmas Day, boys. You crowds are sitting there. Once again, like Chewie's family in Life Day. Hoping that I make it here before Grandpa Wookie gets done beating off to all the VR porn in the living room, son. That's the plot of the Star Wars Holiday Special. You think I'm making it up, son? You think Grandpa Wookie isn't in there, son? Got Renamon sitting on one knee and got Roxanne Wolf sitting on the other, son, living it up in the virtual world. All right. Just dig. Just dig. Oh no, every wasted dig is a heart container we didn't find. Damn you for making me richer. I like how there's a little spot you can jump down, but you have to have the power to lift dark rocks. So what was that, our third attempt? There's another RNG test coming up to get a heart piece in the Village of Outcasts, by the way, so this is the RNG heavy segment of the playthrough. I wonder what speedrunners do here. I wonder if there's a way to manipulate it. Probably. Probably. If I know one thing about speedrunners is they love to manipulate RNG, boys. Oh my god, Becky, look at that classic Super Nintendo's random number generation table. It is so exploitable. It must be like one of those speedrunners' favorite video games. I've spent over an hour doing this, by the way. There we go. I had to acknowledge the pain of wasted time before Miyamoto would reward me. Okay, good. It's one thing off our checklist. Now, you can actually warp back to Kakariko right here, and if you try to do this to cheat and get the piece of heart that's on the other side of this kid, it won't let you. You have to win the 15-second hedge maze race, son. That's commitment. Where is my bow and arrow? Oh, the double tap. 1, 2, 3. That's the triple tap for more substantive enemies. Enemies that can't be taken down with one arrow shot. Arrow shot. Ooh. Okay, now, if we play the flute right here, and there you go, boys. We now have our own flying escort duck. He's only available in the light world. By the way, remember this tree had a fairy in it? 20 rupees. Who caught it? Get the hell away from me. My duck's coming. So when the duck grabs you, you have these 8 locations you can warp to. It's basically a better version of Zelda 1's warp whistle. I want to fill my new bottles I have, and I've got money from digging up holes. So let's get another blue potion. And even though we can get them for free, I don't mind splurging 60 on a green potion. What about the red potion? What about the red potion? That's the Yamcha of potions. And we can warp right back to town. Ooh. Convenient. All right, you're wondering how we're going to get back into the dark world. I happen to know where they hid a magic transporter. In the woods. Here, hold this for me. Signs are powerful, son. That's what M. Night Shyamalan was trying to teach us with that Mel Gibson movie. That was my friend Sean's favorite movie for a long time. Like, he would watch it daily. I guess he got a lot of affirmation from it. I guess he didn't care about the whole aliens are weak to water thing being stupid. There's always a full magic container in this tree. So keep that in mind. All right, this little clearing here, we couldn't approach directly from the village because of this big rock, but with the hammer, we can get in here. The chickens in the dark world are skeletal, the cuckoos. Now, if you dash straight through here, this is kind of where they teach you about the talking trees, because if you dash through here, you're almost always going to hit that guy. There's a lot on the screen. And he's one of those ones that just yells at you. There's a orange one here in the village that gives you a pro tip on how to enter the next dungeon, or at least dungeon number 4 if you're going in order. But first, we have to do more RNG nonsense. All right, we pay 30 rupees. We get to open 2 boxes. There's a heart piece in one of them. I always open those 2. So we're just going to have... This is much faster, at least, than the digging game. But we do have to keep doing this until we get a heart piece. Neat. I'll do it. You talked me into it. God, we ain't even won any of our money back. Maybe I should open different boxes. Maybe those 2 boxes are cursed. I'm pretty sure what you open is based on the RNG value the moment you click on the box. So it doesn't really matter which ones you choose. It's like the illusion that they each have a unique item in them. So don't think too much about it. If we need money bad enough, there's rupees to be had in the Village of Outcasts. Son, well, we got 100. We're 404'd. We've made some of our money back that we've lost. I mean, we're still in the hole, but when you're trying to get a heart piece, sometimes you got to end up in the hole. James Rolfe now dying to say if you're trying to get a fart piece, you end up in the hole. The asshole! There we go. You had to acknowledge James Rolfe to get that piece of heart. All right, let's keep exploring the Village of Outcasts. Now, there are thieves here to run into you and take your items, but like I said, they're dapper Fennec foxes now. Now, you remember this chicken coop store? In this world, if we go in there, it's actually something more pleasant. I was talking about if we ran out of rupees, pop on down here and get you 300 rupees for free. If you need money in this game, there's ways to get it. You gotta need money to get money in Link to the Past. Ooh. Ooh. There's actually a store here, but it's behind these pegs. I think that's some good environmental storytelling, because if you're in a town full of thieves, what else are you gonna do? People without rupees are not welcome here. Now, this is the tree that even though he still shoots a bomb, he tells you that he's heard a girl crying coming from the gargoyle statue in the center of town. Now, before we start dealing with any of that, this house right here also has 300 rupees in it if you need money. I don't right this second, so I'm not worried about it. There's a couple of optional things up here we want to do real quick that'll make the next dungeon much easier. Oh yeah, I wanted to show you this too. This is a little shop that like you'd never really have a reason to visit. There's also a talking tree, but it has something interesting in it that I want to show you. And I like how you enter it by jumping down these little things. So the first time I played this game, I thought you had to buy the red shield for 500 rupees because I didn't know you could get it for free, son. Why buy the shield when you can get the wishing well maiden for free, son? Also, he sells a bee, and it's not even the good bee. Let's go to the good store where they sell the good bee. You know, I do need some more bombs. Let's see if we can kill you with our last bomb if you didn't just walk into me. Oh yeah, damn it, he just dropped one. I'm used to them dropping the 8 bomb item. I'm used to being spoiled. Spoiled, I tells you. Ferme la Bush. This way, cave. Thanks. There's some like caves you can go in, including this one, where you can pay people to tell you stories. They like give you hints and talk about the lore of the world. There's also always a bomb in there. Now, first of all, if you come behind the cemetery in the light world, you might notice this cliff with a cave you can't get to. Well, you've got to warp those worries away with the magic mirror. There should be some bombs in here too, son. Our bomb use through this playthrough has been somewhat wise. Peppy's like, yeah, that's what I call it. More like a wise guy. Oh yeah, we're gaining hearts for day. There should be, I think, 24. Is there 24 heart pieces? You start with 3 hearts. You get 1 from the sanctuary at the beginning for free. There are 10 dropped by bosses, so that puts you at 14, and then you need 6 more. Now, here's an interesting way you get to this secret grave right here. Because normally I would need powerful gloves to lift these heavy stones, but if you warp from the Dark World, you can get right here and then charge a dash and change direction. You'll knock it open. For some reason, the playground rumor about this grave when I was a kid is that it's Link's father's tomb. I don't know where they got that from, but we now have the magic cape, which is quite useful. Quite useful indeed. We'll get some use out of that later. Ooh. We're back in the Dark World, where dreams come true. Son, I told you, it's always got a bomb. Oh, another fun thing I should probably show you kids while we're here. You might remember when we were escaping from the sewers with Zelda, I didn't even mention it. There was a wall that had cracks in it that if we'd have had bombs or Pegasus shoes, we could have gotten into. Well, if you come back later and push this stone, you can get down here. If you hadn't killed enough rats yet. If Kuja hadn't convinced you to kill enough rats yet. So that you can get all the Eidolons. We're almost at max money again, boys, I'm telling you. You go from rags to riches so easily in Link to the Past. There is a good money sink that we can use this money with, but it's kind of time consuming. But useful enough to be worth it. Now we're going to pop back out in the church, and if the priest was still alive, if the soldiers hadn't come here and butchered him while they took Zelda back, he'd be standing right there and be like, why are you coming back out of there? Did you think Zelda was just locked up in the prison again? Did you think, like Mr. Satan in Mega 64's Cell Games video, that she'd been locked up before? All right, we want to get back to the Dark World, so we got to fight our way back to our portal. If I'd have been smart, I'd have made the portal right there before I was showing you all the graveyard secrets. The graveyard secrets of Scooby-Doo. All right. Boom. You always get a bomb when you boom. Just for fun, because I'm recording this video for you kids, let's go in here and talk to this storyteller. I got to spend this money somewhere. So you'll notice he turned into one of them little target octopuses. How about it? Sure thing. You found incredible beauty inside the pyramid, but someone sealed the door. They do refill your health. There's a big cracked wall on the Pyramid of Power that I neglected to show you all earlier. That, of course, young me spent ages trying to get into, because like he said, regular bombs won't open it. They're not wise enough. They're not wise enough. We should be using our powerful magics while we're here being accosted by all these foes. And remember, if you smash a frozen enemy, there's a high chance you get a magic container. There's a high chance you get a magic container. Boom. I'll give a piece of heart to the person who wears the cape. Now, you remember this is the cave that took you up the Dark Mountain originally. But here it's just an optional puzzle for the kids. Those things bounce you if you touch them. Just wanted you to know. So the gimmick here is you got to get past one of those bouncers. Now, normally you would need like a hook shot to get across here, but you can actually just walk around. Don't tell nobody that. So to get past this bumper, you need the magic cape because you become intangible. Watch your magic meter. Oh. And since we're in the area, let's pop up here real quick. You remember in the Light World, the Lumberjack brothers were up here cutting a tree, they said felt weird. Well, in the post-Agahnim world, you can see it looks a bit odd if you run into it. No, how did he do it? In all my years of playing this game, I've never managed that, son. A Tenfey first, and you were here to witness it at 1:45 on a Christmas afternoon. So this is another piece of heart they tease you with early in the game, because you can access this part of the cave behind the lumberjack's house. But you can't get no further. All right, we're finally ready to take on Thieves Town. You're like, is that the second dungeon of the Dark World? No, it's the fourth dungeon of the Dark World. But Uncle Tenfey, how are you going to go out of order? Oh, my OCD, Margaret. Henry's OCD is flaring up. Oh, gee whiz, Margaret. He's already shooting arrows and throwing bombs like they're Tic Tacs. Like they're Tic Tacs, Margaret. All right, I'd say our loins are pretty girded. Let's let him run into us once so you can see. Boom. And you have to race him to try to pick your stuff back up. Now, a lot of people get stuck right here because they don't realize you have to grab the devil's pitchfork and pull on it. But I was the kind of kid when I was exploring stuff like this, I tried to tug on it, son. I was one of them tug explorers that you hear about. This dungeon can be quite confusing unless you know just what you're doing, and luckily I do. Luckily you got a professional piloting the elf boy hero. This first area is just 4 giant rooms. That can be confusing, but if you know exactly what you're doing, you just run around like I just did, you step over here, and already you got the big key. Big key unlock the hell out of you, and then you can warp back. Worries are on blast, boys. Let's get our magic cape ready. We're gonna get a lot of use out of that in this dungeon, son. Cause a lot of trouble in that dungeon. Doesn't quite rhyme. Paulie sure probably wouldn't approve of it, but I went with it. Now, those red guys, if they see you, they spew a hate fireball. And I hate fireballs. I just walked into one of them. He hid underneath the ceiling like a cheater. Like a cheater. So yeah, you need the big key just to get back here. This is one of those dungeons where the big key doesn't unlock the boss's room directly. Speaking of the boss's room, once we get up here, you'll notice there seems to be a boss-type chamber. But no boss. Tony Danza must be sleeping in on Christmas Day in the morning. We're just gonna have to solve the perplexing puzzle of this labyrinth. Miss me with that shit, boys. All right here is where the magic cape really helps, because this room right here is rough if you can't just dash past all the enemies. Like dash O Pepper. If you can't just throw a barrel at him, Doc. All right, we want the orange to be down. Because if you get up to this room, you might think you need to pull that lever. I'll do it just for you kids, but spoilers, that's not what you want to do. You get skull snakes, and nobody wants skull snakes, boys. I had to tent this whole dungeon. Now that telepath title over there with the eyeball bats on it is actually connected to Zelda. Even though she's locked up in a crystal prison, she can still talk to you. It's like Crystal in Star Fox Adventures when you find her staff and her big head appears. It is like, that's my staff. Please use it to rescue me. And don't look up my loincloth with a scope. And Fox is like, I'm gonna. I'm gonna. This is technically spoilers for the day I finally play Star Fox Adventures. You'll notice the light shining in. Another thing you might notice is we went in a building in this same area in the light world, and it was the hideout of Blind the Thief. I never talked to any NPCs, so we didn't get that lore. So there's like a thematic connection, because this is Thieves Town, Blind the Thief. They say he hated light. They say he hated light. I hate this room, but we got through it. Oh, I forgot we wanted the blue. I was doing fine. I was doing fine. We just want the blue one down. We just want the blue one down. That's me. If I was Dr. Robotnik explaining to my badniks what the hell they're doing wrong. I'm like, just get the blue one down. Don't worry about the little fox. He's immortal. He's immortal. I told him. I told him. Lift the big stones. Ooh. Just fighting some vaguely lizard-esque guys. Don't worry about me. Let's see, the next thing I want is my hammer. I'm pretty sure when you play the randomizer of this, you can use L and R to scroll through your items. It's like a quality of life they add. That's a neat idea. I wish Shigeru Miyamoto had it when he was making the game. Oh, look, the maiden. We rescued her. Let's just leave. You can actually try to leave with her, but for some reason she complains that the light outside is too bright and she won't leave the dungeon with you. It's odd when you think about it, but, you know, she's been locked up in here. Real stressful. Boom, I got the Titan's mitt. All right, we can finally lift the dark heavy stones. We can finally access most of the world, son, when you think about it. Stop dodging my sword lasers. Now that room right there is a trap if you go in there, so don't do it. Don't do it. We're at max money now, you might notice. We'll have to go spend some of this money before we go to the next dungeon to upgrade ourselves and our capacities. Now, remember this room where there was nothing in there? It was right below where we bombed the floor earlier. Glottal error while I explain the boss. Where we bombed that light earlier, and if we drag this girl into it, she becomes blind. The pumpkin-headed thief monster. That's what I called him as a kid, even though his head's not technically a pumpkin. Now, his gimmick is his head takes 3 hits, and then it starts flying around the room, and he grows another one. So no matter what you hit him with, he takes 3 hits. The secret is to have this cape so that you could just do this. So that you could just do this. Yeah, I didn't think I had much magic power left, boys. I thought I was getting weak. I was feeling weak. Oh, so weak, my friend. One more hit will put him down, son. He's having actions. This boss can be tough. Oh, no. I don't believe in ourselves. I don't believe in ourselves. I'm too scared of dying. I'll just spend the money on more blue potion. I don't give a shit. This is how you play Zelda? Somehow we won. You're welcome. So during the Sealing War, the wise men, they're the descendants of the sages that these girls are the descendants of. The wise men are the ancestors of the sages. The sages were the wise men, and then these girls. Anyway, the Knights of Hylia all died except one, and I guess he went out and banged, and then they had this link in the future. There you go. That's the story. I understand it all. May the way of the hero lead to the Triforce. All right, now that we got the Titans met, boys, it's time to become even more powerful. So if you come down here, you might hear a frog. Did you guys see a frog and then hear him? Come with me, buddy. So he is the partner of the blacksmith. There's a dwarven blacksmith back in Kakariko village that I never showed you, whose partner has been missing. So I guess he wandered into a magic transporter, and his heart reflected a frog. And that's what he became. And that's all he can hear. That's all he can hear. So this is where the dwarves' smithery is in the real world. Now, luckily, we can drag him with us, and he turns back into a dwarf, and we can take him home. You're welcome, guys. We have to leave and step back in. They won't do business because they need a hug first. Stop beating on that baguette. So here's the neat thing. You can get them to temper the Master Sword for 10 rupees. Now, they keep the sword for a while, and as a kid, I thought this was, like, cool, but also scary because you had to use, like, your items. Like, you had to use your hammer and shit as your main weapon. But all you have to do is warp back to the Dark World and come back, and they're done. Just come back, and they're done. You might have seen the purple box up there. We'll deal with that in a second. Now we've got the tempered sword, the red sword. It makes a very satisfying noise when it's not shooting a laser. So this is more powerful than the default Master Sword. It's a good thing. If you look down in the bottom right, you can see we're at level 3 sword. Let's go inside this mysterious well that enticed us as a child before we got the hammer. There's actually a strange altar in here. It almost looks like it's got blood in it, but Nintendo usually censored shit like that, so I don't know. Sprinkle some powder. This confused the shit out of me as a kid, because this bipolar bat keeps thanking you and telling you he's going to curse you. And now you'll notice my magic meter says 1/2, so you'd think you have half magic, but what it actually did was it halved the magic cost of all the items you use, so basically it doubled your magic meter. And so that's a good thing. Don't tell the mad batter that that was a good thing. He'll be like, no, I take it back. Even if you called no take backsies, I take it back. All right, before we go out there and deal with that treasure chest, we're going to pound some steaks. If you hit the Cocos too many times, they swarm you. This is the game that originated that trope It's been in most of the Zeldas since. This game is like the prototype that inspired all the following Zeldas. Like, they all seem to do the whole, you get 3 items that let you get the Master Sword, and then you go into a darker, more dangerous area and do stuff. It's kind of like how Final Fantasy IV is like the prototype of the modern Final Fantasy, at least up to like 12. All right, we can finally grab this chest. So the key's been locked inside of it. I assume this is written like on a note somebody stuck to it. So we just drag it around with us. Now, luckily, I know just what to do. If only there was an inconspicuous master thief hiding somewhere where he hopes people won't bother him. And we could blackmail him into opening this locked box for us, if only. If only. We can't run because if you press A, you stop dragging it behind you and you go back and get it. Because you can't go inside of buildings carrying it. It's weird. Oh, look at all y'all thinking you're so tough. I told them. I told them. The frame rate. I'm going to bust this soldier and see if I can't get some of my magic back. My mojo. Yeah, a little bit. A little nippo to magic. Hey, buddy. Will you keep it a secret from everyone? I'm going to tell everybody. All right, that's our 4th bottle. Let's go put some good stuff in them again. So we should have 1 blue potion and 1... Yeah. So I'm going to buy another blue potion. And just because I was bad talking it earlier and I know how much it means to you kids, I'll get a red potion too. You're like you're my grandma. You're like, honey, please take a healing potion. Like, oh man, grandma, I've been hoarding mega elixirs since I was in grade school. I'm good. I can spot you some if you want. All right, let's go spend some more money. If we fly back down here, we can finally visit the Pond of Happiness. You're like the Pond of Hap's penis, Uncle Tenfey? Is that what you said? Oh, the whirlpools of warping are these things. Remember King Zora mentioned them? They're another way to get around the map quick, because now we're all the way up at the Waterfall of Wishing. So, it's a fun way to get around. I've never quite memorized them, because I don't use them that much. I don't use them that much. Oh, if we lift this, there's a magic transporter, but all you can do is use it to enter the Ice Palace. And we're not interested in that right this second. So we need to throw 100 rupees in here, and unfortunately, you have to start in increments of 20. A little luck. Apparently that affects your drop rate for the next number of enemies. If you have good luck or bad luck. I don't know, I've never paid much attention to it. Thanks. Big trouble. Oh no, I better stay out of Little China. Boys, it's 1:59. It's almost 2 p.m., boys. We're getting through. We're getting through Link to the Past. And it's going to be a good time. Just a little luck. Just a little luck will do you. Just a dab. Well, dude, this is how I did this as a kid, by the way. This whole running into it over and over. You don't have to do that. But I think it makes it work better. Great luck. So I think the idea of this is they expected you every time you were in the area to come throw a few rupees into it. But once you know what happens, you just come here intentionally. So we could have 5 more bombs or 5 more arrows. Well, I need bombs to use them wisely. So we're going to do that. Now you can also just kind of sit here and pray like this and it'll eventually pop up. Luckily we can throw 50 at a time now, but still, why can't we just throw 100, man? Why has Miyamoto got to hate? Why has Miyamoto got to hate? I want to get up to at least 20 bombs. If you want 100% in the game, you've got to get to 50 bombs and 70 arrows, I believe. Although the last upgrade gives you 10. You know you've reached the last possible upgrade when you go up by 10 instead. I know. You can also like run down here, and by the time you run back, the timer should be reset. Nope, not quite. Let's get some more arrows. I do like shooting arrows. I told myself when I started this recording that I wasn't going to max my bombs and arrows because it takes so long. But I think I've wasted enough time up to this point. Remember when we were like so desperate for money when we were trying to get Kiki the monkey to open the Palace of Darkness for us, and now we're literally here just throwing it away. Son, Elf Boy's millions. We can't give all these rupees away. Not even with John Candy's help. Okay, well, I have enough to get 3 more upgrades, so let's get to 50 arrows and 25 bombs, and that'll be enough to tide us over. Now, even if you come here with 999 rupees, and even if you get 1 to drop outside by like killing the cucumber blob things, or getting lucky when you cut a bush, that's still only 10 upgrades, and you need an excess of that. So you do have to go out and get money if you're trying to do all of this at once. It's one of those things, the first time I discovered it as a kid, though, I thought it was real neat and nifty. A lot of my nostalgic love of this game is the fact that it made me feel neat and nifty while I was playing it. Son. I was going on a genuine video game adventure. It really was the first Tenfey's magical video game adventure. Because even before that, with me loving like the Mario games on the NES, and I loved Final Fantasy 1, but I was too bad at it before I got the Nintendo Power Player's Guide. So I couldn't love it just as much. So we need to get 3 more arrow upgrades because we'll go 55, 60, and then the last one will be 70. And then we need to get, once we get our bombs to 25, we'll need 1, 2, 3, we'll need 4 more upgrades. So that's like 700 rupees. Did I do that math right? You're like, I ain't doing math on Christmas. Wait till I'm watching this again in July. I'll do your damn math for you. Bombs, please. Peppy Hair approves. Now, you may have noticed that cracked wall over there on the right, and you were like, my God, I hope he bombs that right wall. If you go into there, it's a bonus fairy fountain, which can be useful if you're doing the Ice Palace. I consider the Ice Palace one of the harder dungeons of the game, and so it can be useful to pop back out here, warp to the light world, and get some of your HP back. All right, let's do another dungeon. It'll be a fungeon. We're back here. Now that we have the red sword, we can one-shot blue soldiers as long as they don't hit them with the sword beams. So yeah, this building right here was Blind the Thief's lair. So, and you notice in the Village of Outcasts, these buildings were still sticking up, but that was where we were when we bombed the floor in that dungeon previously and knocked that hole in the floor. I just like spatial awareness like that. And now we can walk straight in here. All right, we get to do one of the most interesting, probably the most interesting laid out dungeon in the game, the Skull Woods. It's interesting because it's like half a labyrinthine dungeon and then half of it is overworld because there's like multiple entrances here in the Skull Woods. I like this music a lot. It's very intimidating. It plays on the mountain too. Now, if we fell in that hole right there or walked in that statue's mouth or entered this secret hole, we would go into the Skull Woods. It could be a very confusing dungeon, but it's also one of the shortest if you know exactly what you're doing. And luckily we do. We do have to fight some mummies. They're not our mummies. We'll become invisible and then it won't matter. This is where the wall masters appear. They love to drag you back to the beginning of the stage. They think it's funny. I don't need to be invisible. Oh no, the moment I stopped being invisible and started talking shit. The hitness. The hitness. All right, we need to drag a statue over here. So let's wait for the wall master so we don't get snatched to the beginning of the level. As you do. Don't point out that pulling the statue makes fart noises. I like that they put that block right there like Goof Troop on the Super Nintendo, son. So you know where to stop the statue when you go to pull it north. Hey guys. Let's see how they respond to an earthquake. The skeletons jump because I spun, which means it won't affect them. What about either? They either hate either or either they don't. Yeah, that's work. I didn't mind doing all that because there's a free magic container. Look, we already got the big key. Like I said, if you know right where to go. We pop over here to this little bonus room. Get the hell off of me. Nothing but a magic container, because that's all we need. Because we believe in magic. That was real easy. All right, now that we got the big key, we just skedaddle on over to this side. So this is where we fail to get that piece of heart in the light world. But here in the dark world, it leads back into the Skull Woods, as the kids call it. The cool kids, anyway. Well, you just did the perfect job of somehow not getting hit by me. Once again, you can just kind of walk down. That's where they teach you that you can just kind of walk around some ledges like that. I knew some of you crowd were here. So you're like a light world enemy. In the dark world, what are you doing in here? Other than pissing me off? Other than pissing me off. The fire rod. Another of my favorite variants. Now, if we use the magic mirror here, it warps us to where we entered the dungeon. That's kind of neat. I hate you, little Spark from Super Mario Brothers 2 enemy that they repurposed. If you pull the thing away when he's on top of one, though, he gets stuck. He gets stuck. Didn't want to get stuck. Keep your friends close. All right. And now we can calmly exit. Splatterific. Head right back in here. Yeah, there's a ton of rooms in this place. The first time I played this game as a kid, I was lost as shit. But adult me knows that there's really not much to it. There's really not much to it but to do it, son. All right, we're coming up on one of those classic spots where young me was stuck like an idiot forever. There's nothing really indicating it, but to get inside of here where the boss is, you have to use your new fire rod. I guess the fact that it's your newest item should tip you off, but I don't know. I was just dumb. I was just dumb. I didn't mean nothing by it. 'Twas ignorance slayed the young Tenfey. Whoop, we did it. All right, this room's full of mummies for burning. Burning mummies. I could use some more magic though, so let's freeze the mummies. Conversely, so we could smash them and get our magic container. You gotta freeze mummies to burn mummies. That's what you always say, son. You know Link's uncle has a needle point with that written on it in their house that they share. You can use the torch here, or the lantern, I mean, to save magic power, but it's just so satisfying to shoot this magic flame rod. Also, mummies hate it. Get smoked! Oh, these things, if they touch you, turn you back into a bunny rabbit. But if you play your cards just right, kind of like an anti-fairy. Shazah! No, I missed. How did I miss? Let's see if we can get him to respawn. Oh, please don't shut the door. My dumb ass forgot that they were just going to shut the door behind me. Because I was trying to impress you kids yet again. Yet again. As long as you got the Mad Batter's Cursed with Awesomeness ability, you'll be fine. How did I miss both? Okay. One of them like went into the residual flame. Once again, you got to know to cut the wall to get into here. I just want enough time to charge my sword slice. Crowd, get the hell off of me. Not all of that was necessary, but it was fun killing those enemies. Boss time. All right, this guy can be real aggravating because his room, just a bunch of spikes are constantly moving around. And there's a weird glitch where if he's above the spikes when you hit him, he doesn't take damage. Luckily, the tempered sword makes quick work of him. This tempered sword magic cape, son, my go-to combo. Tried and true. You're welcome. The Great Cataclysm, I read that in a book, or I read it on a pedestal that I translated with a book that had a sword in it that I'm currently wielding. that I had some dwarves beat like a big baguette, and it became more powerful. The Knights of Hyrule, I'm a descendant of them. Did you know this? Can I tell you? Oh, she did know that already. I never get to tell them nothing. Yes. May the way of the hero lead to the Triforce. All right, you'll notice this thing is up here where the Master Sword is in the Light World. So if we walk down a little bit, we can warp right here and get another Master Sword. I like how it does that little thing, even though you know it's fake. Huzzah! I guess we'll finally go do the Swamp Palace, aka dungeon number 2. I know you kids are getting worried. Like, oh gee whiz, Margaret, he's never gonna get that hook shot. He's never gonna get the hook shot, Margaret. Oh, my angina. This place is dangerous. Those little mushroom flying bomb dropper things are like one of the most aggravating enemies in the game. I've always believed it as a kid, and I believe it now. I like how I knocked this shit out of the air and then shot a laser at him. All right, you might remember some swamp ruins we ran by earlier in the game that I told you we were going to deal with. Well, now we're dealing with them. What, you think I was fibbing? Think I was a fibby boy? I read it somewhere. Ask Shigeru Miyamoto if you don't believe me. I would, but he's away at some game developers conference on some moon. All right, we need to open the floodgates. A little bit of neat world building. If we go inside, I'll tell you when we get inside the next dungeon. It was another spot as a kid that it blew my mind, son. I probably could have showed you all before I went in there, but I'm really just trying to get through the game. If you pick up one of these flopping fish and carry it back to the guy that sold us the bottle, he'll actually give you stuff for it, like items and rupees. It's a neat thing. It's a neat thing. And you'll notice the water is also drained here. So when you come in here originally, that water isn't there, and you can't reach that ladder. And then Sahasahara here is like, did you know if you do shit in the light world, sometimes it affects the dark world? Isn't that neat? Isn't that neat? Shigeru Miyamoto. Can't remember the next item we're going to need, so let's just have bombs, because it's very wise. These little water skeeter dudes can't leave the water. They're like Stoop Kid and his Stoop. This dungeon is tedious, but it's not as bad as like water dungeons eventually became in Zelda games. But it is, like I said, tedious. You got to walk back and forth a lot. There's a key hidden under one of these. I just know it. I felt it in my bones. I felt it in my bones. Now, like most of the game's dungeons, well, look at you just stopping in the perfect spot for me to walk into you. There's a lot of optional, or at least a few optional rooms we don't got to visit, and that's a good thing. And that's a good thing. You'll notice we can't reach that ladder yet again. If only we could fill the room with water. I didn't even need that. I like how they put this hammer skill check here, even though theoretically you could never get here without the hammer. Once again, it's like having the crown to get into the Castle of Ordeals to score that sweet, sweet rat tail in Final Fantasy 1. Rat Tail Fantasy. Son, that's my JRPG series I'm going to develop. That reminds me, I bought a game that came out on Steam that I've been wanting to play. That's a rat RPG. But I knew I had to do Final Fantasy IV first, or else you kids would revolt. If I played any other RPG before Final Fantasy IV, I knew it would be all a ogre for me, son. Oh, Fireball Snake, Miyamoto has driven you personally over here. Oh, see that thing right there? If you swing your sword, it shoots a beam towards you. It's sword activated. It's activated by Malice. So you see what I'm talking about all the backtracking. You keep having to go into a room, get a key, go back, raise the water level. I guess it is kind of like future water dungeons in the Zelda games. It's the prototype. The prototype water dungeon. Link's Awakening had the Angler's Cave. It could be a little aggravating, I guess, but not as bad as Ocarina of Time. Now, you wish you could leave the blue blocks down, because then we could just walk south and be back in that room with the multi-dimensional fireball shooter. But then you get later in the level and you're screwed because there's an orange block in the way. It's one of Miyamoto's little ways of getting you. One of those little things only a water dungeon can do to you. It's not a waterbender dungeon. I like how that snake, it jumped in front of you to block the skull and then had to hit me. I'm telling you, Miyamoto drives those things. Personally. He drives me nuts. I saw you hiding in the floor. I'll leave you as the last known floor survivor. I need that. Stop being electric. I don't need that. I told him. Now this one, luckily, you can just push. You can just push. All this entire western half of this dungeon that we're currently in is just to get the big key so that you can open the hookshot chest, or the chest that has a treasure in it, spoiler, that we don't know what it is. Because I'm Tenfey and I've never played Link to the Past. I've never played Link to the Past. Boom, 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 boom. The big key. I don't know if it's faster to magic mirror back to the entrance and make our way all the way back down to the big chest room, or if it's faster to go back this way. But I generally just go back this way. Now, when the randomizer speedrun racers are racing this game, they always hope they find the optimal item in the previous half of this dungeon, because then you can avoid this whole area we just went through that was so time-consuming. I told you it was tedious. Boing. Scientific progress goes boing. Son, that's what Hobbs the Tiger says. It's the Hobbs of the Tiger. And now we can hook shot to a new us. I thought the whole hook shot was Nito Torpedo when I was a kid, but it's not my favorite item in the game. In fact, as soon as we leave this dungeon, we're gonna go get my favorite item in the game. See if you can guess what it is. You crowd want to cause me problems when I'm pushing a statue. Get the hell away from me. All right, you think we need to go in that door, but you push that statue to open this door. That's just the secret of the puzzle of the mystery. Boom, you can hook shot them when they're electric, so that's a good thing. The secret of the mystery of the puzzle of the water dungeon. I think Swamp Palace. During the credits, when we see all of my big zeros, my big pro gamer zeros, you'll see the canon names of the dungeons. That fucking thing came at me like I cared. Like I cared. Oh, excuse me. It's this one. How embarrassing. How embarrassing. We're almost to the boss. It's exciting. There's a little bonus room over there if you desperately need items. Now, these guys like to get you because you have to swim and you can't fight when you swim. But you can also obliterate them with ice magic. Poof. Hauling ass to the door. This boss just leaves his door open because he knows you have the key. Argos? Is that this thing's name? Now, one nice thing about coming here with the temper sword is you destroy his little poof balls in one hit, as opposed to two. As opposed to two. Argus? Argus? That looks like what your name would be. Got him. Now he's gonna get mad and try to fall on us. Pop. Pow. Somehow we won. You're welcome. So the first person to get a hold of the Triforce gets to make a wish. And of course, the first person to get a hold of it had to be a huge shitheel like Ganondorf, the king of thieves. He thinks he's people. He thinks he's people. She's teaching me about the transporters, because from their point of view, I entered the Dark World and did Dungeon 1 and immediately came here to do Dungeon 2, and I've never left the Dark World. So she's teaching me that there's other ways to get into the Dark World. Yes, I understand. May the way of the hero lead to the Triforce. And another dungeon bites the dust. All right, let's head over here. Now, one neat thing about the Dark World as opposed to the Light World, you know, I've not shown you all the world map yet. So you'll remember in the Light World, the bottom left corner was a desert. Well, in the Dark World, it's a swamp, the swamp of evil. And you'll notice there's no way in there, son. You've got to warp your way in there. The worries hate it. The reason we're here, though, is because if we head right over to this spot and warp up. You might have noticed this obelisk as we came through the desert earlier that I didn't mention. Son, once more. Hold up the Master Sword and you will gain the magic of Bombos. It makes the ground explode with power. The Bombos medallion is my favorite item in the game, son. I love that they put that one vulture there just so you could see him explode. Well, since we're in the area, I'll show you the spot where you farm money. We don't need to go back into the Dark World just yet. In fact, here's a good chance to bust out the Bombos. Don't make me bust out the Bombos. I don't care if I got hit twice. I'm the victor. Underneath this rock, you can come here as soon as you get the power glove after the Desert Palace. This guy, this might be the actual thief the guy was talking about hiding out near the desert entrance. Strange and mad wonderful things live in that cave. So that's the ice cave where we got the ice rod. He might be alluding to the good bee. But every time you go in there, you get 50 rupees because there's 5 blue rupees, or excuse me, 10 blue rupees. So if you're farming up a lot of money for your bomb and arrow upgrades and such, this is where you can do it pretty damn quick. I make explaining Link to the Past fun. I'll fight you till my duck gets here, mister. Not a moment later. Speaking of the Misery Mire and the Swamp of Evil, so the only way up here is by flute, and there just so happens to be a magic transporter. The Swamp of Evil. Something about the fact that the desert in one world was like a rainy swamp in the other really fascinated me as a kid. I was like, what a dichotomy that I could only be taught by a legendary video game like Link to the Past. Triforce of the Gods is what I think the game is called in Japan, by the way. They don't have that neat pun. The Link, even though you don't have the name of Link, as we've seen, his canon name is Ben. Ben the Elf Boy. And if we warp up here... Oh, we finally did it. If you try to warp and there's an item in your way, the game warps you back. Yeah, we should have done it over here, probably. So this was a ledge we couldn't get to in the Light World. Man, the hem of my garb was touching that rock, and Miyamoto's like, no, you'll get stuck forever and die of sadness. So if you can get up here, there's another piece of heart. They call this the checkered board room. You could probably guess why. You're like, because it looks like a chessboard? That don't make sense. That don't make sense. All right, in order to gain entrance into the Misery Mire, we need to dispel this perpetual rainstorm. If only we had a magic spell that fucked with the upper atmosphere and caused a chilly wind, son. If you want to get inside this dungeon and you need to use a magic spell to do it, it's either or either it ain't. And as you can see, this lines up with the Desert Palace. Neat. Now, you can actually come here before you get the hook shot, and I usually do. I literally forgot. That's how I usually do it. I was halfway through the water dungeon, and I was like, man, I'm usually doing Misery Mire at this point. Where's my cane of Somalia? You can do The way you get across this is, once again, you charge up a dash and change direction while he's charging. Oh. There's a secret in Ganon's tower that eluded me for years and years that involves that. So look forward to that when we get to Ganon's tower at the end of the game. Whiz robes have been declared in the dungeon. Just like Zelda 1, they like to teleport in and cause mischief, but they can get smoked by some icy magic. Icy London, icy magic. I see something rather tragic, and it's a bunch of smug-ass Orco, black mage-looking motherfuckers getting obliterated by icy magic. And it's a good thing. That's the best part. Miyamoto piloting that fire snake. You'll never convince me he doesn't. This is another dungeon that is very confusing and has a ton of unnecessary rooms. So once again, you're very lucky. I'm like the guy driving the train in Star Fox 64. You're very lucky. Oh. This room's got a couple, 2, 3 secrets in it that we want to have. Let's be intangible while we get them. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Eyeball. Statues hate it. We actually don't need to come up here just yet. We'll actually come out that door later. Remember it. Remember it. Yeah, there's a ton of optional keys and shit in here. It's been a long time. I think just for relaxation later, I might play through this game and just try to go into every room and every dungeon and see how many of them I remember. Okay, this is a chance to turn an anti-fairy into a fairy. Oh, come to me, Fairy-chan. God, that just reminds me how when they did the reader poll of Ishizoku reviewers in Japan, the #1 ranked Suckyu girl was the little fairy girl from the fairy brothel. The one where they measure your dick, and if it's too big, they just tell you to go home. That's bad customer service, Fairy-chan. What are you doing, Fairy-chan? All right, we've got our extra key. Ooh. Let's keep on keeping on. This room, you might think you need to light the sconces, but you could just leave. You could just leave. Those slugs are interesting monsters that lay bombs constantly. Peppy Hair loves them. Ooh, I feel a magic container coming on. Pop. You're so hard to hit. A little magic container. Gee whiz. I think there's a free magic container right here, though. Yeah, because you have to use fire in this next room. Are you ready for an advanced pro strat? Now, normally you have to push all these blocks out of the way and tediously light all 4 of these torches. But if you shoot the torch while you're pushing, it'll go through. Speedrunners taught me this. Summon and Soul, give me the strength. This makes a wall in the next room move, in case you're wondering what the hell's happening. And here's the spot where they get you good. You see these like black pits that are in this room? Normally those just damage you if you fall down them, and you respawn at the entrance to the room. But in this next room only, you actually want to fall down here. And just like that, boys, we got the big key. And we can warp away. Good times. A lot of warping around in the Misery Mire. And now we're over here. You'll recognize where we are here in a second. This is the room that I said we would be approaching from the north earlier. And you crowd thought I was fibbing. That I was a fibby boy. I love freezing skeletons. Boosh. That Beamos is just pretending he didn't see nothing. He's like, look, man, I'm cool, man. Those skeletons had it coming, man. I ain't calling the police. Now, this next room, you would normally need the hook shot to get through, but if you're fast, here's how you do it hook shotless. Yep. Well, first of all, don't run into the wall like a jackass and fuck everything up and have everybody's Christmas ruined because it takes a goddamn month to get back to that room. Because Miyamoto, he calls it Misery Mire because he can't stop. It's still in misery and everybody who's playing through it. Not that I'm bitter, as always. Do we need another key? I can't remember if we need another small key, so I'm not going to open that door, even though it would get us back there. Oh, so slightly quicker. Oh, so slightly quicker. I feel like you've wasted enough of our time with this nonsense, Tenfey. He wanted so bad for me to walk in front of his eyeball. Douche. All right, this time we're gonna know what we're doing. You gotta not run into the wall. That's the only trick to this whole thing. Ah, you have just enough time to make it. The Cane of Samaria, or as me and my friend Chris of the Onion Boys used to call it, the Cane of Somalia. That interesting item makes a magic block appear. Like, that's it? I'm like, well, you can, like, push it on top of switches or throw it at enemies, and if you strike your staff, it explodes in 4 directions. You're like, well, hell yeah, Tenfey, way to bury the lead. I can finally show you these little things. Oh, wait, I did show you one earlier, and I got turned into a bunny rabbit. Never mind. A little bunny rabbit to have. Well, anyway, if you hit one of those with the powder, they turn into a fairy as well. That was what I was trying to teach you earlier. That's all I was trying to teach you earlier, son. I was just trying to give you the best Zelda experience possible. Look at that, boys. Talk about an interesting item that gets used all the time. It gets used all the time. All right, got to do a little bit more puzzle solving and we'll be through the misery mire. And we'll just have to fly misery higher. So we need to hit this switch block that's surrounded by one of those just to spite you. Just to spite you. Pop in here right quick. Yeah, you're clever. You're clever. Jumping away from me. Jumping away from me. You drug out your miserable existence a few more nanoseconds. So then you pop in here. This room has some rupees in it. I don't even remember how you get to that room because I never do the optional rooms anymore. It's my chance to learn. It's my chance for you to teach me. Let's get our magic cape ready for no particular reason. Poof. Poof. They want me to run away from a fire snake here, but they don't know that I got that poof poof magic. All right, time for the boss. How will we ever defeat a pile of eyeballs? Oh no, if only I were invisible. If I were invisible, I could just fuck these eyeballs up. So yeah, if you have the cloak, this is a very, very easy fight and very satisfying. And now, what do you do to a big eyeball? You light her up, boys. You light her up. Deeps race. Somehow we won. You're welcome. Okay, so Ganon couldn't break the seal, started capturing girls. So Agahnim, it's hard to tell. Agahnim, I guess is how you actually say it. I've always said Agahnim because I think it's funny to say. I can't tell if he's like a creation of Ganon or if he's some hateful wizard that Ganon took over his mind. If it's just an aspect of Ganon. We'll see Ganon's ghost jump out of his body later. Oh yeah, I understand fully. May the way of the hero lead to the Triforce. Alright, and if we warp back to the light world, we should be standing right outside the desert palace. We cheated and got past the prey statues. Alright. Still not too much left. We got a little bit of money burning a hole in our pocket, and we're actually about to go into the Ice Palace, which is here on this island. So this is a good excuse to pop in here and start adding to our armament upgrades some more. Because why not? If I can max it out for y'all, I might as well. I might as well. I'll throw just a couple to a tree. Just a handful for the road. Oh, what luck. There was a max bomb capacity upgrade caught in my beard. Yeah, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to just pick 100 every time. I need to use these bombs quite wisely. quite wisely. I don't know when you would need 30 bombs unless you just enjoy bombs. Oh, the glottal air. There's actually a mode in the randomizer that I've seen when they do the races where you start the game and you don't guarantee to get the fighter sword from your uncle. He just guarantees to give you an offensive item so you can complete Hyrule Castle. So sometimes you'll get like the bow and arrow, and sometimes you'll get like the hammer. But the interesting one is sometimes he gives you 10 bombs. So you just have to make it through rescuing Zelda at the beginning of the game with just bombs. If you don't happen to find, you know, something in one of the chests in Hyrule Castle to make up for it, you end up with just bombs. It's real interesting. Like, it sounds like it, Uncle Tenfey. Sounds like you're just on the edge of your seat. I guess we can go ahead and throw 50 more in here for later when we come back. So we need to do 1 more arrow upgrade and 3 more bomb upgrades, I think. Yeah, we'll save our money. It might do us good. That's what the guy that walked across the ruins and from the Aris Dome said in 2300 AD in Chrono Trigger. You want to eat my shield? So yeah, the only way in here in the frozen lake is to warp in. Son, worries hate it. Now this dungeon, I did consider it the most difficult one in the game as a kid. Those ice mummies can only be killed with fire. So you've either got to have the ice rod or you've got to have another way to make the ground explode. If only I had a way. If only I had a favorite item that made the ground explode with power. If it let us press button C to throw a grenade, awesome power. But this game came out before Metal Slug, right? The ice dungeon is interesting because it's just so many sub-basements. Oh, hey, idiots. You look like a bunch of assholes I'm gonna kill. So one of the things I love about the bombos is it's basically a giant spin attack, because Link spins and then the tornado of explosive hate that comes out follows that same spin pattern. They kind of represent it in Link Between Worlds. If you find all the little snails or whatever and get the full upgrade for your sword spin, you get the big spin. These green penguins ain't shit when you got bombos. Fire or ice dungeon monsters hate it. Oh, what a shame. And if that anti-fairy comes within arm's reach of me, son, you're getting poofed into the good fairy. The best fairy ever, son. You get to be on Axe Cop's team. We did it. Now through that right door is where the big key is. But unless you're good at shenanigans, another thing about the Cane of Samaria that people like, the Cane of Samaria, is the fact that, I ain't dealing with these jellyfish. You can use it to clip into like walls and stuff. There's a lot of glitches in this game that I've never really gotten good at, and a lot of sequence breaks. There's one in this dungeon, I'll point out. It's one of the biggest time saves in the game, if you know what you're doing. And you don't care about getting the blue armor. We're about to come up against some Stalfos Knights. They're these big skeletons that, if you don't have a bomb, they take a long time to kill. You basically knock them down and plant a bomb, and when it blows up, it'll kill them. Now, I've beaten one of these things to death before, and it takes a while, so you're better off doing it the way Miyamoto wants. I think that's a Sahasahara thing, being like, use bombs wisely. Use bombs. Oh, he just tells you to use another weapon. Some folks calls it bombs. I calls it another weapon. These little shadowy skinks like to go across the floor, so I ain't having none of it. And neither is my bombos. Talking a lot of shit for a shadowy skink in bombos range. All right, see that crystal switch right there? It needs to be orange because in this next room, there's an orange peg in the way. But if you could somehow turn it to blue, you could skip a ton of this dungeon. And speedrunners do it, and I've done it before with practice, but you lay a bomb right here and the explosion knocks Link over that gap. And so you're able to bypass all this shit. It's a good thing. Ah, damn it. But like I was saying, I'm just gonna take the hit. I don't feel like waiting. If you're not able to get the big chests, which may have an armor upgrade in it for us, son. It may make the Earth Cave Vampire finally like the video, son. It is so much fun to obliterate these smug pricks with bombos, son. I can never get enough of it. Well, I didn't want any cool magic container drops anyway. This is the big trap room. We'll be coming through that locked door later. So see if you can remember it. See if you can remember it. A locked door to remember. These stairs are very aggravating to get down because this floor is very slippery. So you got to line up just right and hope that Link goes down. Bye. So there's the big chest. You have to fall down a hole with the left there. So this is the room that if the blue pegs were down, you could push one of those blocks and basically go straight to the boss. But say, I know you crowd are hiding in there, son. The moment you show your eyes, you're getting bombosed. You get 2 bomboses for flinching. Now the whole puzzle of this dungeon is trying to get around to where those pegs were in that previous room and being able to push that, I thought there was a key in here. Maybe I already got it. And being able to push that one of those loose blocks down below. But young me figured out a way to get around that, son. And now you're going to know it too, because I'm about to reveal my secrets to you, son. Fantastical magic secrets were revealed to me the day I watched Tenfey? The day I watched Tenfey play through Link to the Past, and I screamed, I have the power. Freezor. I think that's what those mummy men that come running at you are called. Those icy mummy men. Like the little kid from The Sixth Sense. You see mummy men. Oh, hey, smug jellyfish. Bye, smug jellyfish. Now, if you come to this dungeon without the hook shot, this is the point I always get stuck. Although, once again, speedrunners can use a cool bomb placement, a wise bomb placement, to blast themselves across the room. Oh no, we're at such a bad number of rupees, it hurts. It hurts. If anything would ruin this Christmas adjacent special, it's that. There we go. That jellyfish monster decided to save Christmas himself. All right, we got some more skeletons to bomb. Bomb skeletons wisely. A lot of item switching in here. It's another thing I don't care for. Hey, idiot, you thinking about turning me into a bunny rabbit to half? Not on my watch. You know I had to have that bomb. If we pull this tongue, we'll open this door. And now, all the way up here, we're now in that room where I told you the big key was, son. Speedrunners use the Cane of Samaria to make a block and like push into here and immediately get the big key. Good for them. You gotta know how to pull on some tongues to open some doors in here. That's not the hook shot. And look at that. I told you. I told you we'd be coming through that locked door. Of course, we get to do this room again, and that's always fun. Apparently swinging your sword gets you through quicker. It's something I've noticed the speedrunners do when I'm gazing at them longingly from a distance. All right, we need a bomb. A wise bomb. Once said, be used wisely. So now we can fall down here, and I hope you aren't too big a fan of green elf boy heroes, because we're about to become a blue. I like the complementing yellow hat and gloves. This setup right here looks really good, especially if you had a golden sword. You're like, where the hell are you going to get a golden sword? Now you'll notice we can't solve the puzzle the way they want, and you'll notice that I'm not really worried about that. I wonder why. Also, if you fall in either of those 2 holes right there, you'll go through those pots and get fairies. That's neat. I wonder if you could bomb boast the Stalfo Knight. You know, I've never tried. If he hates bombs, let's see how he reacts to bomb boasts. Yeah, he don't give a shit. He's like, miss me with that fake shit. All right. You might notice this little side room here that we have our spare key for. So this is where you can start changing the things. You've got to like make a route around the dungeon where you end up in that room that's right beside where we got the blue mail, but the blocks are different because you're supposed to push one of those top blocks down here to land on this button. But young me found out if you had a staff that makes a magic block, you can just skip that shit. All right, the room above the boss. Now you cannot beat this boss without magic power because he is stuck in a block of ice you have to liberate him from. And what they want you to do is go down there and smoke him a few times with the ice rod, but I might have another way to get into him. There's more than one way to crack open a ice demon. Is he Freezor? One of these enemies is called Freezor. Hey, shitlord, catch my bombos. And now for fun, he splits into 3. The most dangerous thing is that shit falling from the sky, but you can just fire your fire rod at will, and it's very satisfying. You're like, which one of them's Will? Which one of them is Will? Somehow we won. You're welcome. The Hylian people control mysterious powers. The blood of the Hylia. Are we not the blood of the Hylia? Who did we crossbreed with? Did the Neanderthals show up? Did we have to fuck the Neanderthals out of existence like humanity did in the real world? They're like our truffles to humanity's Saiyans. So if we beat Ganon, the Triforce will grant the next person who touches the switch. Yes, I understand. May the way of the hero lead to the Triforce. All right, boys, it's damn near 3 o'clock on Christmas Day. It's 2:51 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Got just a couple more things to take care of, and we'll be done. We'll be putting Zelda to bed. You're like, oh, is that like a preamble to Zelda 2? Now, you might wonder what's up with Link's house in the Dark World, and I'm about to show you. I'm about to show you. Actually, we need 100 rupees. I just realized. I forgot there's one more thing we need to buy that costs 100 rupees. So let's take a little detour over here right fast to the secret pro gamer farming spot that I told you about earlier. Get to smoke a few smug birds on the way, too. That's just a bonus. The rupees are the vegetables, son. Blowing up a bunch of smug birds and a cool red spear guard. That's the dessert. That's the candy. Oh, I want you. Wait. There we go. There we go. Oh no, I'm up to the cursed number. Not quite as bad as 68. Should we go ahead and get enough to max out our ammo counters? So what do we need? We need 300 for the bombs, and we need 2. So we need 500 rupees. So if we wanted to, we could sit here till we get 600 rupees. And it takes me roughly, what, 10 seconds to run in here, smack all these pots, and run out. So that's 20 seconds per 100 rupees. And if we need 600, that's 600. That's 6 times, do the math. Do the Christmas math for your old Uncle Tenfey. Have a heart. I'm almost tempted. You know what? It would be faster. We're going to get to 300 rupees and we're going to do something even faster. Try to get your rupee multiplier even higher. What's that? God, how often do I reference the Guildmaster from Fable 1 and his dumb telepathic messages he's always hitting you with? Fable 1 is one of those canceled TMVAs that I got 3 episodes into, and then I was like, I ain't feeling this. God, Fable 1 was the game that broke my magical, like, belief in video games being anything. Peter Molyneux just took that from me. He spent all those years hyping me up that I was about to play the greatest video game of all time. And then I played Fable 1. I mean, it's not a bad game, but Jesus, when you're expecting the greatest game of all time, let's get these 20 rupees for fun. That's not why we're here. You thought I weren't going to grab this heart? I heard you, Henry. I heard your lamentations. Now, I don't know if this is actually faster, but it is more satisfying. You may recall way back when we were here in Thieves Town, the village of outcasts, there was a house over here that I pointed out. Has 300 rupees in it. And we could use 300 rupees. Interesting. Interesting. Boom, boom. The C-shaped house, they call it. You'll notice the portrait of Mario. Or at least that's supposed to be Mario. I couldn't tell as a kid because of the CRT, like 13-inch television I had in my room. Now, if we work back, this is one of those paranoid ladies' houses, although in this post-Agahnim defeated world, they're not there. But if you go into her house and pull on her Mario portrait, boom. Just a little bit of free spending money. All right, let's go finish maxing out our ammunition counter. Then we'll finish powering up, and then we'll head to Death Mountain and the Turtle Rock. Rock me, Turtle Deus. Yeah, like I said, in casual playthroughs, I usually don't bother because you're not going to use 70 arrows and like 50 bombs or whatever in one dungeon. If you are, that means you are just very trigger happy with your item usage. If only you could shoot bomb arrows, but they didn't invent that until Link's Awakening. There's probably a mod for this game. There's actually a lot of mods for this game, and I've never played any of them. If you all know any good Link to the Past mods other than the randomizer that you think I would enjoy, let me know in the comments, son. We can have us a nice gamer chat in the comments. A Christmas Day miracle, pleasant gamer chat in the comments. Now, if the cursor defaulted to 50, you could just sit here with the A button and you wouldn't even have to press a direction, but you always had to press down and select 50. When you accidentally pick 25, God, doesn't Miyamoto love it? Because then you've got to intentionally do another cycle to enter 25 more to get back into balance. Oh, if you've capped both of your bombs and arrows and you give her 100 rupees again, and she'll just give them back to you and be like, go kill Ganon, God. What are you doing? What are you doing? You ruined everything, elf boy. Okay, this actually, I was wrong with the amount of rupees we needed. You crowd probably realized it, because our next arrow upgrade should upgrade us 10 to 70, and then we'll be done. That just gives us some spending money for potions, son. You gotta have your potion spending money. You don't want to die during a boss fight. It'd be real embarrassing. Your beloved 0 games played counts on it, son. Yep, there we go. So how much time total did we spend doing this? I mean, less than 10 minutes probably, but it still feels really tedious just because of the way they designed it. This has been my GDC talk. I hope Miyamoto learned something. All right, now, you're probably wondering what became of Link's house in the Dark World. We're gonna find out right smart quick. Boom. Well, ain't you just special, dead-eyeing me through the statues. Ganon's real proud of you, I'm sure. Oh, the blue mail, I think, makes us take half damage. I never mentioned it. I just talk about the fashion part of it. So this cool little elephant man runs a bomb store in Reverse Link's house, and for 100 rupees, you can get the big bomb. It follows you around, and when you press A, its fuse starts counting down. So we've got to calmly, ow, we've got to calmly walk this thing to the Pyramid of Power. No, I wanted to absorb that fairy into my body. Into my body! Now, you might notice there's not a bridge across the way to the Pyramid of Power like there is to Hyrule Castle. But luckily, the gateway to Hyrule Castle is a portal to the Dark World. You're like, that's not lucky. That's what you're trying to prevent? Ganon's gonna walk through that portal. I'm like, yeah, he can walk through it right into my steel-toed elf boy boot when it swings into his taint meat. All right, so here's what we were looking for. So yeah, you leave the bomb right here. Wait for her to blow up. And now we can finally get inside. Another waterfall mission. Take my arrows. All right, apparently this is what the wishing fairy's inner heart reveals when she's transported to the Dark World. Son, the silver arrows. Zelda 1, you had to have the silver arrows. I think you could technically beat Ganon without them in this game. It'd just take a lot longer. All right, our bow and arrow now shoot silver arrows, and they one-shot a lot of the game's enemies. But we're not done just yet. If we were to throw our tempered sword in here, oh yeah, so we got the max power magical sword. Now, the cool speedrunners call this the butter sword, because I guess it looks like a big stick of butter, because they like everything butter sword. But I think it looks the coolest, especially with this outfit, son. If we had a yellow shield, it would go with it, but if we had a yellow shield, it might be real big and obscure our face. You also notice this little opening right here, but you only get to see where that leads if you screw up. Let's try to pick a good spot to reappear in the light world. The perfect spot. So now we can one-shot red guards in one hit. Son, Tamriel won't know I hit it if we get a hold of them. So I had to send some Bretons and Imperials after us because we'll be one-shotting red guards. Now, these guys right here are real annoying. You might have noticed earlier they turn into invincible statues when you hit them and get in your way. But what you can actually do is quake the shit out of them. Poof, and then they become these monsters for fun. See, he's in my way, and I hate him for it. And I hate him for it. All right, we're going to grab another optional item while we're here on Death Mountain before we advance the story of the game. Everything's looking good in the story of the game. Now, that old man we escorted up here is in that cave down there, and if you save and quit, that's one of the spots you can choose to continue from. So it's a quick way to get up the mountain before you get the flute. And he also refills your health if you talk to him. But we don't really have any reason to. He's already said enough. Oh, I also never pointed out when we were up here earlier, you can see the edge of Ganon's tower. It's where the Tower of Hera was. So this little cave is interesting. You can actually visit here as a bunny, but if you don't have the hammer, you can't do anything. So the floor is made of spikes. We have to endure the floor. Luckily, I have this. I've got this. Oh no, we wasted our invincibility time. Squandered it. I need enough to be able to lift this rock without getting hurt. Poof, we did it. So this is a cane of I always called it the Cave of Brenna, even though I clearly see it's not called that. I'll never unlearn it. This is kind of like an improved cape of invisibility in some ways, because it also makes you invincible, and that ball, which immediately disappeared, deals damage to enemies if you hit them with it. So that's fun, but I mean, it's not really a mandatory item, just fun to have. The best Zelda games always have items that are just fun to have. And that's the way the elf boy goes into the secret cave. I always thought these rock formations looked like a big stack of pancakes with like a square of butter on top of them with syrup oozing out of them. Do y'all feel the same way? I never showed y'all how to do Death Mountain Escape. It involves this spot. As always, there are no bridges in the Dark World for some reason. Or at least not man-made ones. I talked about it in, I think, one of my randomizers. And you crowd thought I was crazy. Ow. I hate you things. All right, we need to get upstairs. So we have to take the correct cave. I don't think I remember the correct cave. Yeah, it's not this one. The only correct thing I know is it's not that cave. Tektites. Some honest to God Tektites. I think we saw some a second ago. One of these is a store. It's not this one. Okay, good. There's a lot of optional chests in this caves. Okay, yeah, I knew there was a store hidden in here somewhere. I'll take your finest heart. We're fun. So you fall down there later, in case you're wondering why I'm not over there. Why I'm not over it. See, your lasers take forever, but your golden sword just smokes them. Oh, people call this the Paradox Cave because we're above that previous cave we were in, but we entered from a lower point. Now, how does that work? My suspension of disbelief lasted all the way up to that point. I ain't dealing with you, crowd. You're getting quaked. I actually got hit by a slime. Now, you'll notice a heart container over on that little sky island. There's only 2 heart pieces left in the game, and that's one of them, son. The last one is hidden in a very clever spot, I like to think. All right, can he do it the first time? Anti-clockwise. Anti-clockwise. Ooh. 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 And now we're up on top of the turtle rock's back. And we need him to open his mouth with an earthquake. Quake away the turtles. Once again, you're hearing that music, that intense music. Please repeat the message. It's the music that we choose. Now, before we go in here, we got a little bit of optional fun things to do over here. There's a lot of stuff hidden in this mountain, but most of it is just rupees and stuff. And we're at the point where we get to pretend that they don't matter. Now, there's invisible floors here. One way to get across them is to make a block and push it till it falls. And you can also either and temporarily illuminate it, or you could just have played the game 900 times and know where it is. That's my favorite. Yeah, if we were doing randomizer, boys, there's like 4 chests over there. Live like a king. One of these has an optional fairy fountain in it, but we don't care about stuff like that. And now when we step out here, we'll be on a sky island. And if we were to transport back to the light world with our 169 rupees, boom. Fun. You know how cool this shit was when I was a kid? I still say it's cool. I still say it's cool. It's still Zelda to me, damn it. All right, the Misery Mire. We're going to encounter another classic young Ben is too stupid to know what's going on. Look forward to it. So see that? It looks like a little question mark. I couldn't figure out what in the world they wanted to do. And all Sahara Hasala says is to bring medicine of magic. Well, what they want you to do is use the Cane of Samaria on that, and it makes a platform. It's the only dungeon where this is a thing. I guess it's supposed to look kind of like the cane, but once again, young me playing this on my 13-inch CRT in my bedroom, I couldn't see those details. All right, this is where we're going to use advanced strats. We got to light these sconces and then get to that door before they burn out. So if you do this, this, switch to the hook shot, because you can't get off this platform unless you do that. Look at that, boys. Look at that, boys. Oh no, not big rolling grinders. If only I were intangible. Poof. Poof. Keys for me. Poof. Poof. If you're worried about me using up my magic meter, they were kind enough to give us a magic container. Aren't these game developers swell? That's what Bubsy 3D would say. I like that they keep the red skeletons through the whole game. They're just like a staple enemy. All right, this bouncy thing is kind of aggravating unless you just freeze him fucking solid. Because when you hit him, his segments fly off and bounce around the room. Secret blobs in the floor. Come to Turtle Rock, they said. Share a few laughs. Look, chain chomps in my Zelda. Next thing you know, there'll be Goombas and Cheep Cheeps. Stop blocking my laser, shitlord. Thank you. I said stop blocking my laser, shitlord. Now those things are one of the most damaging enemies in the game. I'm not even kidding. If you're in like your green clothes, if you're in your short pants when you come down here, they'll mess you up, man. It ain't even right, man. Wait, I love bombos, but I need either. It's either or either it ain't, son, as the sages say. With just enough left over to powder me a fairy. A big magic container, please. I guess a little magic container is big. If you're a menace to society. Boom, boom, boom. This room is fun. You get to bounce around these pipes above the lava. Above the lava. Here comes a solid mess of anti-fairies, boys. Too many fairies to count. We could actually, for fun, catch one in a net. Because even if you don't want to let it resurrect you and then potentially incur a death, you can let it loose and grab it. And I think it gives you 7 hearts. More like 7 farts. See, invoking James Rolfe. I was punished for it. Now, can you just be hit with the ice rod? Because it's an ice rod? He can, but he doesn't really care. So this is what fighting them like normal is like. Luckily, we got big magic containers, son. I think that the bouncy thing has the key to this room. So you need to get back over here and fight me. Like Perfect Sale said to Goku, get over here and punch me in my perfect face. You'll see that eyeball above the door. If we stand in front of it, it gets mad and shoots us. If only we had some sort of mirrored shield. If only we were heroes. All right, now you might think to go this way, but no, that's the fool's way, son. We're going the cool's way. To the causeway. Yeah, I could use full help. Anti-fairy, bunny, magic. Oh no! The hitbox on it is so odd, you don't quite understand it. Poof. Just in time to get fucked. By the anti-fairies. Like the worst Fairly Odd Parents fan fictions. Now we can go in this one. And pop out right here. Hey guys, you remind me of some assholes I'm gonna freeze. Oh. Can't believe I let you hit me in the back of the head when I got this perfectly good red shield. Red shield. Red shield! Alright, if we pop over here right quick. You get this fun room. Bomb. And now we are outside the dungeon on the cliff face. Now you can't normally get here because you see there's no opening to jump down. If you jump down right there where my hearts are, you go all the way to the bottom. So here's the neat thing. If you think to use the magic mirror right outside this entrance, you get to this ledge you normally can't get to any other way. And if you go inside, see, remember when I said there was one place in the game where these things appeared in the light world? Well, this is it. We've got to fight the Mimikyu. Luckily, I've got my bow and silver arrows. And inside of here, the game's last heart piece. All we got to do is beat Tri-Hex. Can I get those arrows? I don't think my boomerang will go over there. I think I would have gotten them if they hadn't disappeared at the last second. Neat. Well, back to the Misery Mire, back to the Turtle Rock. So inside of here, we will find the big chest. Now, you can make a cane of Samaria block. I might as well do it, and you just walk across it. So this is technically optional, but we now have the Mirror Shield. I like the color scheme. I like this current color scheme we have. It should be a shame if we ruined it with a cool red and purple outfit. But yeah, the shield like blocks so much of his face. What's blocking your face? I'm a big key guy, so I walk through rooms like this with full confidence. The confidence a big key will bring you, son. That's my sales pitch when I start trying to sell my key enhancement product. Satisfy the ladies all night by unlocking big doors and big chests with your big key. Some shadow monsters are going to come through that door when it blows open. See? I knew it. I knew about shadow monsters. This room can be difficult if you're not some sort of magic cake guy. And I most definitely am. Who has 2 thumbs and loves magic invisibility cloaks? This guy. I don't think my tone of voice got across how I was doing my thumbs. Okay, this room as a kid, I consider the most dangerous room in the game because you've got to know the exact path to follow. Just like that. And now if we go around, poof, poof. If you stop right here, you can fill up your magic. And that would be tragic to not do that. Okay, I'm trying to remember the exact, I think we want to be on this one right here. No. Okay, you can see it right there. So we want to go to that right there. Now, these little intersections, if you hold a direction, they do let you change direction. You'd have no idea how much trouble young me had with that. And now to dash through this room. Ugh. So the mirror shield, of course, lets us block these guys and their hate beams. Yeah, they put that guy there just to knock you off the thing. So there's actually a bombable wall here, and if you step outside of it, it gives you another entrance into this place. And the reason this is pretty cool is if you get here with no resources, you're like, damn, what am I supposed to do here? Well, if you work back to the light world, there's actually a way to jump down to this ledge from above, I believe. And so you could fly off to like the potion shop, refill your potions, and then come right back in and be at the end of Turtle Rock. Plus it gives you a restart point. Speedrunners use it for that. If you fuck up too bad against Trihex. So the reason, sorry about the glitch air, by the way. I know I'm not going to remember to edit those out because I'm going to try to get this shit up for y'all. But if you turn invisible, you can also just walk past them. So that's why you don't really need the mirror shield. But it's a fun thing to have. Then there's this room. Okay. What does Quake do to these little Helmosaur guys? I'd like to find out. Yep. To slime. And you're not Rimuru, so it's not even the good slime. That room has a lot of optional shit in it. Let's see what's under the skull for fun. Look, 1 bomb. 1 bomb. Now, we need magic to beat the boss, and luckily they are kind enough to give you a full magic container right here. Now, the ice rod that we collected much earlier in the game is technically optional, but you have, well, no, it's optional until you get to this point. You have to have it to beat this boss, and for no other reason. The moment I saw that ice rod, I knew I had to have it. Right, you smug prick? So the red head shoots fire. You have to hit it with ice to make it vulnerable. I can't open my pause menu right now, which sucks because he's going to make the floor slippery. But that's okay. Fire. Okay, he's about to strike. He waggles his tail like a cat right before he pounces. Or right before your Khajiit girlfriend. Before she bounces on you. There's different context between the two. Okay, come on, sweetheart. Now the middle head is all that's left, and we just got to hit his core. His armored core. Come at me, Brostein. The ice persists, by the way. It persists about stuff. I like how you pushed me in the corner. You won't let me hit your fucking middle section with a spin attack. Bastard. Bastard. Somehow we won. Spamming magic for fun. Why not? You're welcome, Princess Zelda. Well, the game must be over. We just rescued Princess Zelda. We ain't seen you since I dragged you out of that prison. through the sewers. I see you haven't got the smell out of your dress yet. Son, Ganon can't run and hide here in the dark world. He's trapped. He's locked in here with us. Once I find the optional basket full of hot French fries, son, we're going to take him down. I do understand. May the way of the hero lead to the Triforce. All right, boys, all that's left is to take Ganon down. Well, we got to get through his tower first. We got to get a hold of him, and then we'll take him down. All right, there's a certain recurring powerful Zelda enemy that only appears in this screen we're coming up on. So these are Lionels. Remember Lionels from Zelda 1 and Breath of the Wild? I can't quite jump up on their back. The silver arrows are quite powerful, though. Boom. Look, a naturally occurring bridge. Bridges are so rare here in the Dark World. And now we're up here to Ganon's Tower. Neat. Look how shocked these pigs are. Can we see our friends down there? Yep, yep. They're like, man, you must be a special guy. You're somehow up there. Boy, am I glad that he's up there and we're down here. All right, Ganon's Tower has the most optional stuff in it, but if you know where to go, it's really not that difficult. Follow along at home. When randomizer speedrun racers get here, the race is just to find the big key. There's a bunch of checks you gotta do, and you gotta hope you find the big key quick, or your opponent will catch up to you. You have a key inside of you. No, you don't, but this here thing does, doesn't it? Yep, I remembered. I remembered. All right, this room is kind of fun, I guess. Yep, did all of that just to walk off the ledge, like a jackass. Here, you need another skull? All right, this is where you got to do some interesting bomb puzzles where you need these switches to change at a certain rate. This one's interesting, once again, because if you lay a bomb too close, it'll hit both of them, and it'll change back. It'll go orange and then back to blue. So you want to get just the cusp, just the tip of the bomb. Oh, excuse me, I thought I had full HP. I thought I had filled up my heart so that I could shoot my sword of power. How embarrassing. This never happens back home. It's a good spot to be invisible. Miyamoto guiding his fire snakes that he loves. Snakes of fire. Push this block. Whoosh. All right, let's go in a fun optional side room. This little side room hidden right here that you can see, they call it the randomizer room because you would have no reason to ever go in there unless you're doing a randomizer, and the big key might happen to be in one of the chests that's hidden in here. You got to walk around till you find. See, I don't have it memorized because I never come over here. Neat. What is even in these boxes? I like Ganon's, hey, remember that time I was a cool pig and picked up the Triforce statues? They had to tell you how bombs work every time. Peppy Hare demanded they put that in the game so that bombs would only be used in the wisest manner. Transporter maze. Oh, we want to get down there to the bottom left corner. Like Little Jack Porn or whatever his name was, sticking his thumb in a pie. Isn't he the villain of that Puss in Boots movie that has the wolf death that everybody's a big fan of? I haven't actually seen, I've never seen any of those movies. I've seen Shrek 1 and Shrek 2. And that's it. All right, this room has some invisible floors and you're supposed to solve all kinds of puzzles, go through all kinds of mysteries. But if you're a cool guy who's played Link to the Past a shitload like me, you know that you can do this. Oh, and if you want to see, if you light a sconce in a room like this, You can actually see the floor while the sconce is lit. Fun. Let's get rid of some of the anti-fairies while we're here. Come at me, Bro Stain, Bro My, Bro Bath and Beyond. Thanks for the arrows. Speaking of arrows, you want to see the upgrade to our bow and arrow with these silver arrows. Check this shit out. Remember these guys? They took 3 arrows each. Well, if you've got the Fat Fairy silver arrows, ooh, 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 ooh. So you have to refight the first 3 bosses, but they're slightly more difficult. In this case, the floor is ice. Big key for me. Thank you, sir. Now, we could just warp back to the entrance and continue the dungeon, but there is one final optional item. And I know you kids are going to want me to get it. Here's a fun little replenishment room that they put here. Awful nice of Ganon and Agahnim to put all these useful items in their tower. So now that we got the big key, we can open this box. The red mail. So now we defend from like 75% damage. It's just like Zelda 1. Warp away the worries. And it gives us this cool color scheme that at the end of my Breath of the Wild TMVA, I made the Crimson Tunic with its purple accents be the final color. And now you know why. Now you know why. You'll notice this room has mimics in it, and I hate them. Why ain't you just a moonwalking? Luckily, our mirror shield does block his shit, so they're a little bit easier to deal with now. Creeping up on me. There's a key in this room. I don't think we need it. No, there's not a key in this room. I'm an idiot. I'm thinking of a different room that has a key in it. Common mistake you kids probably make all the time. One fun thing about these guys, if you grab the statue and press directions, they keep walking. Let's walk your ass around here, boy. I wanted those arrows before they disappear. I had to have them. Oh. All right, it's time to complete. We're almost to what they call the gauntlet. So there's a section of this castle that's just room after room of difficult enemies and difficult circumstances. So you could get all the way to this point without the big key, but then you need the big key. This makes the key the big key. All right, if you jump down here and do this, it's our old friend, the Armo statues. Remember them? That takes me back to when I was young and weak. Oh, so weak, my friend. I like to always try to make a blind run through there. Every now and then you make it. Every now and then everyone thinks you're cool. All right, so right here is one of the great mysteries of the game that took me the longest to figure out, because you can't hook shot over there. What you're supposed to do is use this patented charge your dash and then change direction at the last second and bounce across technique. Now all that's over here is some more replenishment, but I mean, it's still fun. Jackass, there's a full magic container in there too. I just want you kids to enjoy my Zelda Link to the Past playthrough. I don't know why you got the piece of tsundere. All right, the gauntlet. My favorite thing about the gauntlet is just obliterating everybody in it. Bombos is a good thing. Now, Bombos is the only optional magic because it doesn't open a dungeon. Although in the randomizer, it'll randomize what Turtle Rock and Misery Mire need to be opened, and sometimes it can be Bombos, and you get to feel like a real Bombos boy. Now, you'd think the Mirror Shield would stop his attack, but I do not believe it does, and I do not care to test it. You can see how these rooms would be very annoying to complete if you weren't a pro, if you weren't good at enough at the game to know how to equip the Bombos Medallion and press the Y button. And press the Y button. I don't remember what's in these skulls. Let's see if any of them are kind enough to have a magic pot in them. I don't think so. And plus that little spark things. I was wrong. I was so wrong. I want that! Damn you, crowd! Team it up. You know what? I'll have to burn magic to get it, but I don't care. But I don't care. I'm the hero. Literally. Oh, hey, you were here just in time. Let's see if I can finally poof one of these. I did it. All right, we get to fight our friends, the Lamolas. I think the gold sword might make quick work of them. But if you did shoot them with the silver arrows, it also one-shots them. And it's also a good thing. In fact, we'll kill the last one with that. I can't open the pause menu during explosions. In case you're wondering why I'm not. Oh. Now the Moldurm or whatever that knocks you off the ledge, unfortunately, you can't one-shot him with silver arrows because he still needs to be hit on his tail with the sword. Or probably the hammer too. The Wizrobes in this place are extra potent because they're skeleton Wizrobes. This kills them and shows you where the floor is. I was perfectly timed, boys, to catch that shit. Couldn't have planned it any better. There's a bunch of guys with big forks here. A bunch of bull men, moose men, cow men. Get ethered. This room, okay, yeah, this one you run down and the floor collapses, but it doesn't really matter. You didn't have to stop and kill those guys, but I wanted their hearts. Their delicious hearts. Have I mentioned I'm the hero? This room right here, if you run out of magic power, you're fucked. I believe there was a GDQ once where a guy ran out of magic power in this room and couldn't light all these sconces, and he had to become the sad boy. What are we doing? We got magic burn, baby. We got all kinds of potions in the bank. Potions in the bank. All right. And then you get to this fun room, which isn't too big a problem if you've got the mirror shield. This room right here, we're on a time limit because the floor is collapsing. Cause the floor is oh, or you could just walk over the side like an idiot. That's another fun thing to do. That's another fun thing to do. As I was saying, the floor is collapsing. Tarnation. This room has a key in it, but if you've hoarded enough keys throughout the dungeon, you actually have excess right here at the end. Here's a fun timing-based bomb puzzle. You got to have your bomb blow up right in front of that, and we did it. Why? Or you've got to sit there and bother me. I know why. I know why, but it still makes me mad. 2 fairies. Another small key that we didn't need, but we got for fun, and another magic canner that we wanted to have. All right, Moldurm, guess what? What if I were intangible? How would you knock me off the ledge then? 2 butter swords is all it takes, boys. All right, this next chest is called the validation chest with the randomizer speedrunners because you don't have to open it, but if you're at this point in the game, you've basically beat it. So it's the last chest in the game you're going to encounter. So you validate your run by opening it for fun. This room would be difficult if I weren't intangible. Magic Cloak is right up there with my favorite item, son. It's definitely one of the most useful. Now, Ganon wants us to walk down this carpeted path, but I'm going to walk up here and be real cheeky and sneaky and breaky. Look at this cool Bat Mothman design, son. Well, hey, Agahnim, I remember you. This is where he uses multi-form. Now, if you're lucky, you can hit him with multiple magic balls because they'll line up correctly. It depends on where he spawns himself before he yawns himself. But he's being a shitheel right now, and he won't line himself up right. He won't line himself up right because we would enjoy it too much. As long as you're not throwing the blue ball. Actually, I don't believe he throws the blue balls during this phase, so it's actually better than the first time you fight him. Boys, when we win this fight, you're kayfabe in the game. Your immersion. Okay, I guess the main one can still shoot blue balls. That's good. Your kayfabe's about to be broke regarding a certain item. See, Ganon's hate ghost came out of him and turned into a bat. If only we could chase after him. So you'll notice right here and right here only, the flute works in the Dark World automatically. Never again can you summon that duck in the Dark World. I guess they couldn't think of another way to do it. All right, before we finish off Ganon, let's go replenish our stores of potion. Also, I need to piss really bad, so I might edit out a piss break too. Y'all won't hold that against me, will you? Piss break justice. Tell you what, how much money have we got? 246. What can we buy? What are we buying? Get you out of here. You need a lot of magic power when you go to fight Ganon because there's shenanigans. So, tell you what, give me one of these. And I'm just going to chug it right in front of her, son. I just want to dunk my head in the green cauldron. Give me another blue. That ought to be enough to get us through the Ganon fight, even with my level of incompetence. We ought to have enough to get us through the Ganon fight. It's like having 4 senzu beans, son. Alright, and the fastest way back... it's just to walk north and go through the gate of Hyrule Castle. That'll get us right to where we want to be, boys. Hey. I like how you crowds keep running at me. Now, the canon is that these soldiers are all being mind-controlled by Agahnim. And when we defeat Ganon, they'll gain their sanity back. But does that mean we've just been indiscriminately slaughtering Hyrule Castle soldiers throughout the game? It's tough being an elf boy hero, son. These quandaries. Now, right when you hit the ground, you can hit Ganon before he starts talking, son. Let's see if we can do it. His alter ego. So I guess that was him in disguise? I don't know. Whatever, idiot. So this first phase, you just wail on him. For fun. Then he summons the fire bats, and if you want, you can turn invisible and you don't got to worry about being hit by them. Alright, eventually, yeah. Now, if we fall off the edge, we end up in the shame room, and that's how you come out of that little tunnel I told you about earlier. And eventually, the torches are going to start going out, and he'll be invisible, so we got to keep them lit. So that's why you need a lot of magic in this place. Plus, if you're using your super cool magic cape, like a pro. Alright, we're going to go ahead and cap out. Alright, let's get our fire rod ready for when we need to light this ship. Son, we got him in hit state. So you hit him, he turns blue. Ooh, ooh. They don't stay lit for long either, so you gotta be quick. Ooh, ooh. Don't get knocked off either, because he'll get full HP. We did it. We lit the sconce. We lit the sconce. We smoked that boy. Hey, shitlord, enjoy your silver arrows. I think one more might do it, boys. Somehow we won. All right, all that's left is to go collect the Triforce and watch the credits, boys. Link to the Past done in less than 4 hours. Well, depending on how long the credits take and such, and editing out piss breaks. You know how these things go. You know how these things go. Time to wish away the worries. There he is, boys. The criminal. He dared put his name on it. Shigeru Miyamoto-san. We beat him yet again. Well, there you go. I appreciate y'all sitting here with me and hanging out and having a good time. I've had a good Christmas day. It's 3:45, and we finished Link to the Past. So as soon as the credits are done, I'll start getting her uploaded, boys. And if I can get it up before midnight, it still counts. Santa Claus will be powerless to put us on the naughty list. But yeah, it took me way too long to play through this because, like I said, I've tried a couple of times, but I was like, I'm not doing it good enough. I'm not explaining it good enough. So I told myself today, I was like, I'm just going to sit down and just play through it and just talk. It's almost like that's what a Tenfey video is. So hopefully you enjoy this. I was kind of worried that some people might be disappointed that my Christmas special this year was Life in Kurosento based, even though I snuck some games in there, even though I did a full playthrough of Earthworm Jim. So I thought this might balance it out. It might make Christmas in balance yet again. But yeah, I also used to say, if you followed me back in the day, that I was going to make Link to the Past the final Tenfey video, but that was when I was like, oh, I have a plan and a vision, and the Tenfey channel will follow this exact pattern. But that was also stupid. You could drop dead any second. I could be hit by a meteorite, and people would be there lamenting. They're like, we never got Link to the Past. The sky rocks stole Link to the Past from us. So there you go. Fun. Now I can play randomizers and ROM hacks. Have a grand old time. I appreciate Kanji Kondo's name coming up right when the Zelda theme starts. These credits are real pretty. It's a shame to talk over them. That's why I didn't talk over the cast or whatever. Or Link talking to the art drive for it. I literally almost said artwork because it was the word I was reading. Son, Yoichi Katabe did a good job with the printed art. I love this game has like one of the best manuals. If it wouldn't take more time and probably delay this video past coming out Christmas Day, I'd probably go over the manual. Maybe I'll do that some other time. We can go over the game's manual. I used to read it and reread it, son. Good time. I'm telling you, this game was life-changing for young me. I was like, video games can be art. Son, Roger Ebert, he was just there shaking his head at me, and I dared him to say something to me. Even Gene Siskel, he wouldn't make eye contact with me. But all that's left is to see all of our zeros, that we went from hero to zero. Number of games. I wonder if you can take it past 999. Does it roll over? If you die 1,000 times, does it still count as zero? East Palace, Desert Palace, Mountain Tower. And then when you get to the Dark World, they become levels. The Dark Palace, the Swamp Palace, the Skull Woods, the Thieves Town, Ice Palace, you got Misery Mire, you got Turtle Rock, you got Ganon's Tower. That's about all Dark World levels there is. We played 0 games, which means we didn't even play this one, son. We didn't even play this one. All right, y'all have a good one. If you're watching this on Christmas Day, Merry Christmas. If you're watching this in July, Merry July. And Happy New Year, or Happy August, whichever comes first.